up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm Celtic Warrior Sheamus.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Fine. Everybody relax. Everybody just calm down. And now, it's time. I should be a ring announcer, dude. Introducing.
We passed that competition. You didn't enter.
I didn't enter the SummerSlam one. They probably. I felt like the show every episode is an audition, and I stand by that. And I think they see it, and I think they have reacted appropriately. Are you gonna turn on Kev's mic, or am I just not gonna hear one?
He's not talking.
Kev, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. One half of the legendary podcasting duo, the IIRonics. How you doing, Kev?
I was waiting for my intro.
That makes sense. That makes sense. GR Lunar already in the chat saying, evening, boys. It's your boys.
Boys.
Kev, let's start with something easy. How you been?
Pretty good.
All right.
Hanging in there.
One-
How about
one
yourself?
down. I've been doing all right. Doing all right.
All right.
Busy. Been busy. Just in time says, cheers, Wrestling on the Rocks crew. Cheers to you. Kev, speaking of cheers, let's start off by topping off our glasses. What's in your drink, man? What's in your glass?
Just the good old OG Crown. The purple stuff.
Purple drink.
Purple drink.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. I am having, remarkably enough, not sponsoring us yet. I mean, who knows? I always keep the door open. You know what I mean? I'm always open to the conversation if you want to sponsor us. But we have On the Rocks premium cocktails, and the one that I've decided to start with was the Old Fashioned. This is crafted with Knob Creek. It says made with Kentucky straight bourbon bitters and natural flavors. But it's a really cool company called On the Rocks. And I was like, it just says pour over ice and enjoy, ready to go. If you guys want to find them, just remember that we are at Ref. I'm at Ref Marsh, and we are at WOTR the show. If you want to find On the Rocks cocktails, wouldn't you know it, all their social medias, OTR cocktails. So it's already a match made in heaven. It is quite a pairing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and just shoot that out there. Put what do they call that? Manifesting. Put it out into the universe. The GCW universe. Manifest. But yeah, I'm going to try that out on the rocks.
Tell me how smooth it is.
Smooth, baby. It's all right. It's all right. It's a tiny little bottle. Since we got our non-sponsors up top, I'm going to also just mention our actual sponsors. New Wave Flow State Coffee is specialty grade coffee with L-theanine and rocket cow for productivity and creativity. Gives you better energy, focus, and mood than a regular cup of coffee while decreasing negative side effects like anxiety and blood pressure. And I'll tell you, I know it when I drink it, and I can feel it when I don't. If you go to newwave.co, NOOWAVE.co, and use promo code CHEERS, you can get yourself started and try it out and see how you like it with 10% off any additional deals I already got going on. Let's see. Jeremy Stevens said, good evening, Dive Bar. Excited for another episode 1. And it was right. We are the Dive Bar of the IWC. Man, I feel like I just got a lot done there, Kev. How you doing? How you holding up?
Good. I'm good. I'm just enjoying the ride right now.
Yeah, just running through it. Let me see. There was very little news, but there was a couple things that I thought were worth talking about. Was there anything you want to talk about specifically before we get into some of the stuff here?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't really hear of anything this week.
You didn't hear of what this week?
So I really didn't hear anything newsworthy
yeah,
this week.
I agree. There was one came out first thing this morning. Jerry Mago Anderson of the High Rollers passed away. He's an old school wrestler. I'm not familiar with him, but I did see a lot of outpouring of love and respect going his way. I don't know. Are you familiar with him from your early days of wrestling?
No, not really.
Yeah, me neither. Sounds like he was a Minnesota guy. Either way, it's always sad to hear about that stuff, and we'll see you down the road.
Definitely. Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh, that was good. That was good. Let me see. The other couple things that were going on that I wanted to get your take on.
Okay.
Oh, just real quick. Sifa Fatu, the younger brother of the Usos, signed with WWE. He was at the Performance Center.
I actually did see that.
I thought that was pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Because I saw Rikishi came out and said something to Roman and the Usos.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily a promo, but it was kind of like, hey, there's one more at the table, open a seat kind of thing.
Yeah. Just amazing. And everyone in the Samoan dynasty is just fantastic. Jacob Fatu doing his thing in MLW at a really high level, so I can't imagine that this guy's going to be any less than what we've been seeing. Where's the other fucking thing? All right, well, here's the other news. Here's the one other thing that people are talking about is it came out, and by not just the dirt sheets, but some actual websites that actually report news, but even then, they can get pretty skewed in the whole wrestling world, the wrestling sphere, as they say. They're talking about Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchett taking over NXT in general, that they're going to be producing it.
Yeah, I saw that too.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. To me, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if that was, stop. Sorry. If that's like, trying to think of like losing the word. But anyways, if Vince didn't, wasn't on top of it beforehand, like, and he is now, like, cool. Let's see where it goes with it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, not everything that ever happens is a negative thing. It's really easy to say that everybody hates everything that ever happens and then enjoy it when it happens anyways. But just from like a silver linings aspect, the amount of people who complain that NXT is such a bubble of its own in which nothing ever comes out of and stays the same, and the first thing that ever happens when any of their faves end up on the main roster is they get an entirely different look and sometimes name, and that everything's totally different. Well, Vince McMahon was more hands-on with the developmental. I feel like you would see less of that, right? Like, you would see him approving of stuff before it gets to the main roster.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, I think it cut out. But yeah, no, 100%. Like, you would think that it would go through or run through Vince and say, yes, okay, let's go with it, or let's change this, let's not, but who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And who knows if it's even true. Just out of fun speculation, though. So part of the rumors was that they're going around saying they're no longer, I think Triple H made a comment about it and when they did the tryouts in Vegas, that they're no longer going to be trying to get like fresh indie stars and indie darlings, that they're going to be looking for high-performing athletes that they can train and mold into WWE superstars primarily. I don't think that means exclusively. I just think it means the direction that they're going to look at. But I think at the same time, they've gone through waves of that before, I feel like. Every now and I feel like they get a wave of just like, okay, only athletes, and then it's a wave of like, let's get indie talent. I think NXT being what it was is why they were getting that. I think they wanted to create, like, let's just look at it objectively. Before NXT, were they really poaching a ton of indie talent, or was it a bunch of athletes with the occasional indie star? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Micah then.
Mike says, even though watching Kayfabe with Marsh, it's a great time, and he's nice to me.
Yeah, it was a time I was nice. It was before I understood how toxic he was. No, I'm just kidding. Yep. Specifically to Void Podcast. I'm on their new video. We go through it. I lawyer his ass. It's really good. It's good stuff. But back on topic, Kev, the idea that before it was only they were getting like superstars from the indies who were going to work. I think that this whole wave of indie talent they were bringing in had to do everything with NXT trying to be a big indie promotion. Even before AEW was a thing, NXT was just trying to cater to the indie fans because there was a market there. It's the market that AEW has completely tapped into, and it's the market that AEW really wants to control. And bottom line, WWE has not seen, I don't think it's even arguable, they've not seen a ton of success through NXT. It makes sense that they would change it up. You know what I mean? That show was always their lowest viewed. It was always the least talked about. The takeovers would do well, but all their weeklies were always no one ever watched. Like, they had a ton of stars come through that just did not pan out on the main roster, or people left or got injured. Or, I mean, now you've got Adam Cole potentially leaving, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I already heard that happened. Like, he's gone type of thing.
Yeah. I heard that too, but I just don't know. But at the same time, I don't think that it's a coincidence that AEW's picking up steam. Adam Cole's contract comes up for negotiation, and suddenly the WWE's all like, all right, fuck it. Let's stop getting all these indie guys. I have a feeling, and I don't know anything, so I'm going to make it up. I'm going to make it up like all the other wrestling journalists. Who's to say that the negotiations with Adam Cole didn't spurn a lot of this stuff? If his hand in his pocket was like, hey, pay me this, or I'm going to go play with my friends in AEW. And I have a feeling that WWE doesn't like to be up against the ropes like that, and said, fuck it, go ahead. You know what I mean? Let's stop getting people who have all these friends and start getting people who want to be in the WWE. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that was,
for better or worse. Go ahead.
Yeah. And to me, a lot of it, I think, has to do also with the whole we're entertainment, they're wrestling type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so if they're focusing on, hey, let's get these athletes and mold them into, you know, superstars or, you know, talent, because they don't want to be called wrestlers, you know, then fine, you know, let's let them entertain us. You know, and that's probably one of the reasons why, like, somebody like Reginald got a shot. I don't think, you know, it's entertainment. You know, I don't think he's gonna ever put on like wrestling matches.
Yeah.
You know, he may one day get there, but they're working on it. Like, you know, I think, you know, you wouldn't see Reginald in the indies or going to AEW because they're like, you know, well, we want wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and realistically, Reginald's been doing better than a lot of their NXT call-ups. You know what I mean? Like, it's worked out. You don't have to unteach bad habits. You don't have to retrain people. You don't have people who came in with all these things that they know worked for them in the VFW and don't understand why it's not working now. Like, it's a fresh slate. And I mean, like I said, for better or for worse, there are people who end up on the indies and are ready for WWE. Guys like AJ Styles. I believe Karrion Kross is absolutely a WWE superstar. Even with these struggles he's going through right now, I think he's made for it. I think guys like LA Knight, you know what I mean? Like, you can see people who go through the indies and come out the other side ready for WWE. But by and large, you have guys like Ciampa and Gargano who show up in WWE's NXT and say, I don't want to go to the main roster. I want to stay in developmental forever. And that's got to feel bad. That's got to not be a fun look. And if you're going to like put a whole national show anchored on them, then maybe that's not a conversation you want, where they start saying like, well, what are you going to do to make me stay and not go play with my friends I've been wrestling with for 15 years? Fucking maybe nothing.
Yeah. Bailey and Sami Zayn moved on.
Yeah, Bailey actually, I mean, as good as she is and as good as she was in NXT, I mean, I've seen some of her stuff when she was in Shimmer and stuff, and she was just an indie wrestler. Like, it was she didn't have a lot of that. She wasn't as clean. You know what I mean? Like, she got a lot out of developmental, out of NXT. She got a lot. And she wasn't on the indie scene for like years and years and years. You know what I mean? Just a small number of years. Even Becky, she was on the indies technically for like what 6 or 7 years, but like wasn't wrestling for like 3 or 4 of them. So it's like, I think that's what they're looking for. People who are inclined into it. And like I said, for better or worse, I don't know. I think if AEW is going to be poaching the indies like they are and giving every indie person a shot, WWE's like, well, there's a whole untapped market over here that we've had a lot of success with. Guys like Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. Arguably, The Rock was never really in the indies. But at the same time, you know, I mean, that's not to say that it wasn't that The Rock didn't have a leg up because of his family. Absolutely, I feel like there was a leg up there, but he's not an indie guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, the other thing is that the whole point of, you know, NXT at the beginning was that you wanted to get to WWE. You know, and maybe this is the whole reason why they're kind of starting over with it, is because there were too many guys that just wanted to stay there. I was like, no. Your drive was supposed to be to get to the main roster, to get the call-ups. So if you have the Garganos, the Ciampas, you know, Adam Cole, if they're like, no, this is my peak, then what else do you do with them? You know what I mean? Like, like I said, it was supposed to get to, you know, your drive was to get to the main roster, the call-ups and stuff like that. So if you're complacent and you're okay with, hey, you know, I'm good here, then, you know, what good are you, type of thing.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's understandable.
Yeah.
I agree. I think we're just saying that it's understandable that there could be a shift in mentality and direction. I think that it's just a little heavy-handed the way people are all like, oh, this is WWE, ECW, or see, this is, why would I want to watch a wrestling company that isn't interested in getting wrestlers at all? It's like, well, maybe because you've been watching a wrestling company that wasn't interested for the past 15 years anyways. Like, a lot of their guys. Outside of the 90s where everyone was still coming out of the territories, and the 80s when they were still coming out of the territories, a lot of their pickups were not indie wrestlers for very long periods of time.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was the goal. So the idea that NXT opened up and suddenly gave a shift to people's goals, it was a little weird. So
yeah,
I'm just saying I'm interested to see where it all turns out, how it's going to pan out. A lot of the rumors are that NXT is going to go back to the way that it was a couple years back, which honestly, I much liked it. I liked it a lot more before Adam Cole signed with it, to be honest. But we've talked about that. I didn't even watch the whole year of TV where he was the champion on the network before it hit USA. I wasn't even watching. I wouldn't watch the weeklies anymore. I only watched the takeovers. And before then, I was watching all of the weeklies on the network even. So I don't know. For me, I don't have a problem with it shifting.
Yeah, and with me, you know, similar to a lot of the guys in AEW is, you know, there was so much hype behind Adam Cole. And there was, you know, hey, he's the next AJ Styles type of thing. And it's like, oh, shit, I want to see this guy. And I saw him, and I was like, you know, it just wasn't my cup of tea type of thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. That's how I felt about it. I don't... But at the same time, like, I mean, you have guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and AJ Styles who are indie guys for a really long time and solidified their buzz and their worth and got to WWE and proven themselves. And I think that's always going to be a thing. Just that's not who they're going to be looking at solely anymore, or firstly even. You know what I mean? They're going to have to create a buzz. You're going to have to do so well on the indies, they're going to have to be what they refer to as undeniable. The old Cody Rhodes thing. I'm undeniable. Maybe so.
Well,
maybe so. Get that kind of buzz.
Yeah. The other thing I just don't want to, you know, and I've already kind of seen it, is I just don't want all these AEW fans being like, oh, AEW won. You know? It's like,
oh, yeah.
There are two different things here with them and NXT. The fans are what created the Wednesday Night Wars. If you know, hopping on the hype train with that, but like to me, it's just a rebranding. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of somebody that a wrestler like Roman. You know, hey, we tried it, we didn't like the product. You know, we're gonna change it up and do this now. And everyone's like, oh, they lost, and it's like, we don't know the reasonings or whatever, but to sit there and say one beat the other, I'm like, eh.
Also, think of it this way. If WWE deems it a failure and it's doing just as good as your show that you deem the arousing success that beat it,
Yeah.
there's different standards there, right? They were really close in ratings for a really long time, and if NXT is being viewed as a failure by WWE and AEW is being viewed as a rousing success, and they're growing and they're doing better,
Yeah.
but if in the same rating sphere they're like, oh look at they beat them, they're a huge success, but on the same exact lines, it's a failure to WWE. It's because WWE is playing a different game. You know what I mean? They just have different things. And I agree, it is a rebranding. I also think it's funny the amount of people who are like, don't change the NXT at all. I love it the way that it is. And at the same time, the last logo that popped up, they said they hated it. This one they say they hate. They didn't like the last change. They didn't like the last belt. They didn't like the first belt. And every time something changes, it was, well, I preferred the last one. But when it changes, it's always, I don't like it. Leave it the way it is. And then it changes and they go, I like the last one. It's just dumb. And also, fucking nobody's watching, man. Like, they don't get these crazy big ratings. Like, of course they're going to need to change it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's one of the things, like, when I was watching back in the day, the WWF and WCW, one of the reasons why I like WWF more is because WCW was kind of bland looking.
Yeah.
The NFL, you watch it on Fox and CBS. To me, Fox is more visually appealing. NXT was kind of like that, where it wasn't visually appealing. Everything was dark. Everything was black. Everything, with hints of yellow here and there. From what I see from the new logo is they're adding color to it again. It's like I said, the difference between WWF and WCW, and I think, they're gonna flare it up a bit instead of being so dark. You know, that's just my thought on it.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Instead of looking like a WWE funded indie show, they're gonna look like a WWE show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was the first thing Amanda said, Miss Amanda Jane from our show. First time I had her sit down and watch NXT to do the show. She hadn't watched it at all. She watched NXT and AEW Dynamite in full. And I said, first off, what are your first impressions? She goes, both of these shows look just like big budget indies. And they're like, it was just somebody else's budget on each one. And I was like, interesting thought when that's the first thing you see. But yeah, it just looked like a big budget indie. So maybe they want it to be bigger. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to find out. And I'm excited to see the changes, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I'll probably actually tune in.
I've been having a hard time getting through a lot of the NXTs lately. There's been so much trash on them. There's been like small highlights of stuff. So it's like, yeah, for me, I'm ready for a rebrand. I'm ready for a change.
Because in chat saying Cena and Braun were both power lifters, and a lot of former football players are in WWE. And Take says, hey.
Yep, that's true. Former football players. Ron Simmons comes to mind. Other people probably. Mark Henry. Not football.
Mongo McMichaels.
Mongo. Kevin Green was actually good at it.
Kevin Green, yeah. Dennis Rodman.
Goldberg. I mean, realistically, even if you want to take WCW as even just a marker too, I mean, Goldberg, he went from football to the main stage. It's not impossible to understand where they're coming from. And no, I don't think it means that, hey, they don't want wrestlers in a wrestling company. I do think that, hey, they want people they can mold and people who stop negotiating their friends and family in a contract dispute. You know what I mean? I have a feeling that... Go ahead.
I was going to say, too, the more recent ones that come to mind are Mojo and Baron Corbin.
Oh, yeah. Both of them, Mojo and Baron, were both footballers who came to the NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look at my wall and see if anybody else comes to mind. Big E. Big E was football straight over to NXT.
Even almost.
Almost, that's
Didn't
right.
he play basketball? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he's doing great. So I just think that it's understandable. Bishop from PW Takes coming through says Rock, Goldberg, Vader, Pat McAfee, Roman even. True. True. None of these dudes were indie guys. Like they have seen success, and it's people that you love. So relax when you go. Why would I? I've seen someone say this. Who, for one, I don't know why they watch wrestling to begin with. But for two, he goes, "Why would I continue to support WWE when they don't even want wrestlers there? Your favorites weren't wrestlers elsewhere, you know." So, and at the same time, those guys all come to mind. The Rock, McAfee, Vader, Roman, Simmons, all guys who went from football to a big stage. Either way, I do want to say thanks for Bishop for coming through, and you guys should check out twtakespodcast.com/TWTs. I think he's still got that anniversary special on there where it's like 1 million shirts, 40 coasters for $3.99. Don't quote me on that. But if you do use promo code DIVEBAR, you can get an extra little discount on whatever it is. Oh, that's harsh. Bishop says Austin failed at football. Fuck, everyone you listed failed at football. That's why they were a wrestler.
I know. I was gonna say.
Yeah. None of those guys were successful at football. Pat McAfee went to 1 Super Bowl and lost it. Fuck off. You want to say Austin failed? None of them. Dick.
Yeah, but Pat McAfee was a Pro Bowler.
He was a kicker. He was barely even football.
Hey.
What?
He got more checks from the NFL than I did.
That's a good point. He definitely did that. Kuro coming through saying, I failed at football. Hell yeah, Kuro. Take says he was agreeing. Fucked up way to agree. Fucked up. Pointing out one guy failing, none of the others. Kuro does say, I'm qualified to be a WWE star. Hell yeah, you are, dude. We were hoping to run into you over at SummerSlam. Didn't happen, but I'm glad you were there. We were there. We saw Becky come back. We lost our goddamn minds. There was a dude who came up to me. I don't know if I've said it yet. I was waiting for you to come through. A dude came up to me at, I think it was the SmackDown before, or it was SummerSlam, where they looked at me, see my belt, and they go, oh, hey, man. And I was like, hey. He's like, I like the belt. And I was like, are you Kuro? And he went, what? And I was like, thanks, man. It was cool to see you. And the guy's all like, awesome, and walked away. And I was like, the fuck was that guy doing?
You see us, tell us.
Yeah. Like, I had no idea what I was talking about. And I was all like, fucking weirdo just came up to me like,
A fellow fan.
yeah, he was a fellow fan weirdo. Kuro's probably a weirdo, too. I would have loved it.
I was going to say, most of us are weirdos.
We're all weirdos. I hope Mario's podcast is listening. Weirdo we met at the bar. I love that guy. He does want to come on. I think we're going to try and get him in on an episode. We're going to have him call in on one. I just don't know which one. He made a mention. He wanted to talk about CM Punk and SummerSlam, but he said that like 2 days ago, and I was like, dude, we move on.
You said you were about to be robbed.
I was about to be robbed. Yeah, the dude was going to... Yeah, that's what it was. The dude was trying to challenge me. Remember, I talked about that. Problem, everyone has... They say, oh, if you show up with the title belt, that person should be obligated to defend it. We are, motherfuckers. You're the ones not challenging us. No, I'm not going to calm down. Fucking step up, bitches. You put your lid on it.
What?
Oh, on my drink? I can do that.
And,
I thought she was yelling at me. She wasn't yelling at me. She was trying to be
and
helpful.
we always have a ref.
She's trying to be helpful. We always have a ref.
We always have a ref. Yeah.
Yeah. Gives
Calls
us
it
a
down the
slight
middle.
advantage.
Yeah.
Right down the middle. Let's see. Bishop does say, and McAfee is punter of the decade, 2010s. Dude, that was a decade ago. He was good 10 years ago at kicking a ball one time? Yeah, fuck off. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, he retired. He wasn't cut. He retired.
Yeah, he retired on topped and never getting a ring.
I think he did get a ring.
I think he lost the one Super Bowl he went to. And he was on like the fucking Colts. They were like winning left and right. Till he showed up.
Hey, what the hell?
I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I barely watch football.
In the Colts' defense, they always went up against Tom Brady. So
Yeah, well, he should have been
That's
playing
tough.
with Gronk. He should have been playing with the Gronk then.
Yeah.
Let's see. Bishop just says, fuck, I accidentally backed out in another commercial. You guys are too big time now. Dude, I've been trying to push them commercials. We get pennies on the penny for those commercials.
It sucks making a snippet.
Yeah, getting a snippet sucks because they fucking... But hopefully we get a couple cents every time you edit.
I think YouTube might be better. But,
Yeah. Kiro says, wait, so if I meet you guys, I can take your title. You can fucking try, dude. Try me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not one of the guys. I don't think that, I'm not willing to defend it. I think no one's willing to step up.
This was not cheap.
Yeah, I'll fight for it. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is champion's advantage. Watch out.
Mm-hmm. Champion's advantage. We got a crew. I'm literally a ref. Fucking try it.
Low blows, chairs, eye gouges.
Yeah.
We're trying to get disqualified so we retain the title.
Yeah, that's a 24/7 title, fucker. This is a real match. Kiro says, Marsh, what kind of match are we talking? So, I mean, this is fucking regular rules. Mat wrestling, chain wrestling. And if I eye gouge you in front of myself because I am the ref, I'm going to have to disqualify myself and retain the title that way. This is what's going to have to happen.
Yeah. Smack yourself with something and toss it to him.
Yeah.
And he catches it and be like, you hit him with it. The old Eddie.
100%. 100%, man. I don't have anything else. I just want to talk about that a little bit because people are talking about it. I think their narratives on it are really weird and like they can't understand. And it's like, really? I feel like that these. I mean, and I know nothing at all, but when I saw all that happening, all those rumors coming out, and at the same time that Adam Cole's contract negotiations were not going well, I was like, would not be shocked if those two things weren't directly related. At the same time, I wouldn't be totally shocked if they weren't related at all because I don't know jack shit. I'm not trying to pretend I'm an insider. I'm not trying to besmirch the name of Adam Cole. I just wouldn't be surprised if they had an impact on each other.
Yeah. When people just don't like change. When change comes around, they get all huffy.
That's a good point. Yep. Somebody once told me we could all use a little change. The world is going to roll me.
You're just quoting Smash.
You got a fucking problem with that, man? The hits start hopping and they don't stop dropping or something. I'll look up the words here in a minute. I'll run through them.
Because you're an all-star.
Yeah. Hey, now. We're all-stars here. What? Bruce is pissed. Brucer is pissed. Let's see. Kuro does say, okay, but I'm a licensed combat. Yeah, she's not into Smash Mouth. Go fucking figure. Kuro says, okay, but I'm a licensed combat sports ref for boxing in Canada, so I can wave off the DQ and restart the match. And we'll just keep in the cycle, man. We'll wrestle all goddamn night.
Well, we're going to make sure we're not in Canada.
That's a good point. Your Canadian license means jack shit in my America. USA! 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 Oh, yeah. Well, you ready to talk about SmackDown, man? I don't have anything else. We've been fucking around for a bit. Might as well get to it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. SmackDown opened up with Becky Lynch. Bow! Bow! You don't think we'll be hit for copyrights on that one, do you? Because it was spot on.
I don't know. You hit those bows pretty hard.
I hit him pretty good. Becky comes out. She was cutting a promo, talking mad shit. Loved it. Bianca Belair comes out. She started talking some shit. And I actually thought Bianca was doing great on this SmackDown. What did you think of Bianca and her promos? Because I think you've had a few issues with her promos at times.
Yeah. I mean, I thought she was doing well. She was holding her own. Seeing Bianca kind of, I don't know. We'll get into the match. But anyways, yeah, the promo was good. Nice back and forth. Didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, I thought Bianca, I was also a little bit nervous getting a Becky up against a Bianca because Becky she has roped a dope a number of people in promos. Just having them taking the shots and looking weak. And Bianca looked fine. She looked confident. She looked sure of herself. She was confident in her words. She was clear in her attitude and her character. At no point did it feel like she was frozen or confused or trying to find the line. She she belonged there, and I loved that.
Yeah. 100%.
Let's see. Wait, what the fuck? I don't know, something is happening with, I don't know, some wrestler on IG Live right now or something, but I don't know the name. Daphne. If that's familiar to anybody, I would say look it up. Apparently there's a big issue happening with her right now. But I don't know who she is, so I'm going to keep on moving. Kuro does say, fun fact, Canadian referees for combat sports are licensed. There's nothing fun about Canadian referee facts, but, okay, well, what?
Oh, there was news. Bret Hart's booze. He's going to have some news on booze pretty soon.
Maybe. There might be booze news. There's not booze news yet. He was just in a distillery with a title that he may or may not have held. Did he ever hold the big gold? He did for a brief minute in WCW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that title in it was like a bourbon or whiskey.
He said details coming soon, as if they're going to have.
Yeah, no details now, as in that we don't know what the fuck they're doing. But if there's Bret Hart booze news, you'd be goddamn sure you're gonna heard it here first.
But I looked into that distillery, and they are only available in Canada. So, hey, Canada listeners.
Yeah, actually, we love Canada. Kuro, if you could find out more about this booze and get us some, ship it to us direct.
Bret Hart booze.
Bret Hart booze. I believe that's what it's going to be called, the Boozies. Yeah, make sure you, our address is on wrestlingontherocks.com on the bottom if you need to send us any booze or anything. So he does say, traveling license, meaning if I was called to ref a match in, let's say, Montana, Arizona, I would be allowed to. It's interesting, honestly. Oh, he's got a traveling license. You wouldn't be asked to referee our match. So how about now? Jeremy to say Daphne's from TNA. She talks about how she's been dealing with suicidal thoughts. Don't want to go into that much detail because it's pretty scary. Yeah, okay. So she's from TNA. That's why the name sounds familiar. But yeah, I guess she's going through it, and it sounds like authorities have been called or whatnot. If you're a fan of hers or whatnot, you might want to keep up on that news. And cheers to you, and we hope that it all works out in the end on that one. It's always scary.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to it, so Bianca and Becky, they held their own against each other. Bianca felt like she belonged in a ring and in a conversation with Becky, and I loved it. After her challenging Becky, we had Zelina come out, and she cut a good promo. I thought she did great. She's doing such a good job talking herself into situations she has no business being in, and I love it.
Yeah, especially since she hasn't, won a single match, and
Not a single match.
she's literally just letting her mouth get her places.
Yeah. And
Sounds
I think
bad,
it's awesome.
but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah. I like that she was going on doing her thing, and then Carmella comes out. Carmella started the promo in my favorite way that she's ever started one, and I hope she starts using it all the time, because she said, "Okay, guys, listen up. A 10 is talking." I was like, what a bitch. Love it.
She stole your brother's act.
Yeah, my brother, if you follow him, Aaron M. Marsh on Twitter, he's constantly talking about 7s and 10s and stuff, and it's a pretty funny little gag he's got going on because he doesn't mean any of it, but he's all like, he said things like, "I'm not feeling really good right now. If I could get selfies from 7s or above, that'd be great." Things like that. But either way, then Liv Morgan came out. Liv Morgan got a huge pop, dude. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I was glad that she got that pop, and
Yeah.
I'm just hoping they do something with it.
That's a good point. I hope they do as well. But she did get a huge ovation, and I was really happy about that. So, yeah, hopefully they do keep moving forward with her. She did an awesome job talking, too, explaining why she belonged in that whole match, and I loved it. I don't know. I like this whole segment, and then I even liked it at the end of it. Bianca was all like, "All right, all you guys, shut up. I'm going to talk to Becky." And she's like, "Becky, what do you say?" And then Becky just goes, "Nah," and walked out and walked away and let them all beat the shit out of each other. Then they had a match. It was going to be an elimination match, 4-way elimination match. and then the winner of that match was going to get a shot at Becky, and it ended up Liv and Bianca won. But also Liv looked awesome in that match, and I really hope that whatever happens next, Liv is in the next title conversation pay-per-view after Extreme Rules. You know what I mean? Whatever the next one is, I hope that we're talking Liv.
Yeah. See, the only thing I didn't like about this was, I'm glad Liv was, made it to the last or the final two, but it made Bianca, to me, once again, look dumb. Because she just beat Carmella and Zelina the week before, back to back. So now it's a fatal 4-way elimination. So it's like, take out Liv first. You know what I mean? Like, strategically wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, all right, you handled the other two, no problem. Like, the only wild card in there, if you will, is Liv. So take her out. But, obviously, that doesn't make for great storytelling. And truthfully, when it was down to Bianca and Liv, I thought Liv was going to win because,
How good she was
the
looking.
whole, well, that, but the whole, Bianca's in trouble because of the house show thing with Sasha, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of threw that all out the window. Maybe not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah. I think that the mentality behind not going after Liv directly and early, I think would be that you need to get rid of Zelina or Carmella, because Zelina and Carmella, so far as you know, are working as a unit. And if they're working together, then you have a 2-on-1, potentially 3-on-1 situation. So you got to break up the team members, because you know that Liv doesn't have an allegiance to either of those other two. So if you can get one of them out, at least it's a 3-on-3. Where right now it feels like a 2 and 1-on-1,
There's some Steiner math right there.
Yeah. She's got 33 and a third less chance of winning if she can't get Zelina out 249% of the time.
You divide it by 4 and you got to win.
Yeah, 100%. That's how Bianca won. She did the Steiner math. She figured it out. It worked. Yeah. So you're the one who's an idiot. Don't come at me, or Bianca. Oh, Bianca looked dumb because she did the thing that won the match. Fucking moron. I would have done it completely different and then probably lost. So she's dumb. Dumbass.
I'm just saying, she handled the other two no problem week before.
Yeah, one at a time.
Might have well been a 2-on-1.
No. Overall, are you? Well, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it as it goes. Let's see what else happened on this show. Yeah, I don't have anything else about that segment. I think after that we had Cesaro versus Chad Gable. Or am I missing a bit? I'm gonna scroll back here a little bit. Dude, all the Paul Heyman stuff in the back with Kayla, so fucking dope.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that they're kind of slow playing it. And then the Usos are casting doubt, and the Roman's just acting like nothing's wrong.
Yes, 100%. And that first bit where Heyman tells Kayla he's got to help Roman get ready, and he's locked out, and she's just standing there. Yeah. And then they come back from commercial, and she's all like, "So, what do you think about not being here?" He's like, "You seriously just are gonna stand here?" Like,
yeah,
so cool.
And her smug little smirk.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, she was smug as shit, just being like, "This is everything I want to be doing right now, is watching you look like an idiot." It's so funny because it also plays into their little back and forth of Paul constantly talking shit on her.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when you think about it, but notable. Because a lot of people talk about how everybody who's not just a wrestler in the ring has no character. The referees have no personality. They need to be faceless and characterless. But I feel like that there are attitudes to these different refs, and they all bring something different. And I feel like even the backstage interviews where they say everyone's a robot and stuff, I feel like we're definitely not seeing that. We're seeing a storyline actually play out in a sense, not on a big sense with a big payoff, but there is a story between Kayla and Paul Heyman that we've watched play out.
Yeah.
I just think that's notable.
Yeah.
Bishop from TW takes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, going back to the refs too, is, you know, I'm surprised that AEW didn't do it because they were all about records and stuff like that. But, you know, when some of the teams I watch, when, you know, a certain ref comes up, I'm like, fuck that guy. I don't like that guy when he refs these games. And I'm surprised no one's ever, you know, dived into that and been like, oh, you know, this guy's 0-5 when, you know, let's say Robinson, you know, is repping him and stuff like that. But once again, that probably goes to, hey, they should be a side note more so than anything.
I do think
not
that
even
when
a
Charles
side note.
Robinson refs a Charlotte Flair match, there's always a seed of doubt that there could be an angle being played out here because he does have such a history with Ric Flair, but also because of his history with Rick, he has cheated in a match or two for Charlotte. He's done fast counts or whatnot when the time has come up. So I would say that Charles Robinson specifically in a Flair match does raise an eyebrow in the beginning. You go, I wonder if something's going to happen here. And when he calls it down the middle, it just, you know, solidifies him as amazing. And when he does do that stuff, it just solidifies it as, you know, still being a human with a form of character. I would say that the thing I disagree with you on that is I do believe AEW has actually leaned in on that pretty heavily. Except they've gone so heavy that they've done that with all the refs. Every time you see a ref walk out there, you go, oh, fuck this guy. There's no ref there you're happy to see.
Well, I meant like angle-wise, not,
I know.
hey, this guy's roughing right now.
Yeah.
But,
I know, I was just fucking around. Because you're like, oh, this person never calls it. Well, that's their whole gimmick at AEW is the refs don't know the rules. They're not even sure if there are any. I really wish they would just drop the pretending that they're having rules and have to do a lot of this weird. Just fucking say you're ECW 2.0. Just say, hey, we're gonna be an extreme thing. These are the only rules we have. Is you have to win by pinfall or submission in the middle of the ring, but everything else is fucking bets off because everyone looks like an idiot when they try to play around the fact that they refuse to disqualify someone for rules that they've never enforced.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just stupid.
Well,
Either way, moving on. Go
I've
ahead.
noticed it a few times recently with WWE that they, you know, especially on the outside,
Yes.
where it's like, you know, guys, like, there should be a 30 count by now.
Yeah,
Like, at
there's been a
least,
few.
you know, for the most part, they like to go in there and break it up and stuff like that. But I've noticed a few times where that hasn't happened, and it's like, hey, you guys need to do that, or just call it a count out.
Yeah, there's no reason not to just say that. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I agree. Bishop is in the chat. He does say, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that looks like she belongs and has meaning. I think he's talking about Bianca. It's weird what redemption from an unexpected loss could do. Yeah, her losing that way is building sympathy. Becky winning that way is building animosity. And them both being in the same conversation and seeming equals elevates Bianca. Because now she's sympathetic and belongs there. And Becky has always been there and is the bitch who could take it all away from Bianca. I think that's basic storytelling in general. Right?
I mean, yeah. That's, you know,
It's
that's
almost
what you
like
want.
it's
You
working.
Want... Yeah, I mean, you want somebody to boo and somebody to cheer, and
Yeah.
building it.
And it's going to be real tough not to cheer Becky. But at the same time, you have to look at Roman and Lashley and know that their other champions are heels. And, I mean, you were there, dude. People booed Roman.
Yeah.
Like crazy. But he's also one of the most beloved superstars in the whole industry right now. People know to boo. They know to boo the asshole. And if Becky's going to be a bitch, People will boo her, I think, because I think right now the audience is on board. You know what I mean? And they want them to succeed. People want Roman to succeed. They love it so much that they've turned themselves away from cheering and will boo out of absolute adoration. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I think Becky's going to get that same treatment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the exact same way how you do it with Charlotte. You boo because you love her.
Oh my God, I boo the woo. Boo the woo. Let's see. Yeah, then we had the segment where the Usos come out and talk to Paul Heyman and they say, the fuck dude, fuck you dude. Paul Heyman's all like, man, I couldn't have known, That's what Paul Heyman sounds like. And then the Usos are like, fuck you dude. And Paul Heyman's like,
Those are horrible impressions.
Well, I'm not Bruce Pritchard. I can't nail them all. I'm just giving people an appreciation for guys like Bruce Pritchard who can do the voices. Yeah. So the Usos are like, "Oos, fuck you up your oos hole, dude." And then Paul Heyman's all, "Well, I didn't actually know about Brock Lesnar." Yeah, 100%. And then I like that they snuck back in, left him out in the cold, whole thing. Just in time says, so Heyman sounds like a minion. Yeah, pretty much. But it was awesome, dude. Everyone involved in all that is just so next level. I think that even being involved in that, I think that storyline has elevated Kayla. I think Kayla Braxton on Talking Smack sitting with Paul Heyman, she has become one of the best backstage interviewers because she is able to attribute a personality in subtle ways. And I don't think Kayla's ever going to be caught off guard and be speechless. I think that if she needs to say something, she will. You know what I mean? And I also think that the WrestleMania helped highlight that too. When they had the WrestleMania rain out for half an hour, and they said, well, fuck, we don't know what to do. Kayla, back to you. And she's like, what? And just fucking carried a thing. And then was able to, oh, hey, what do you think about this, JBL? What do you think about this, Peter Rosenfart? And then all of a sudden, like, all right, I'm going to cut you off there. We're going to go back to Samoa Joe. Like, she was maintaining it in such a high level where you know that there was just no ability to have time to have been scripted. It's sink or swim. You better fucking swim. And I don't know. I'm just so impressed by Usos, Heyman, Kayla, Roman. This whole atmosphere is elevating so much of SmackDown right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's pure gold. Huh?
No, I didn't say that. I was drinking.
Oh. Yeah. Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that. After that, we had.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, everything that they're touching is, just awesome. Like you said, every little aspect of it is just on point, and I don't see how anyone can complain about this. But yet, people do.
It's literally elevating people in roles you don't think would be elevated by a wrestling storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic.
Yep.
We had Shorty G against Cesaro. This was a good match. It was a solid match. Otis gets involved at one point, but it was a good match, I thought.
Yeah.
Gable, former Olympian. Cesaro strong as an Olympian, so I thought it was fucking dope. I don't have any complaints.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see where they go with it. If they're, go back and forth. I mean, I'm sure Otis and Cesaro could put on some decent matches, intriguing matches.
I do wonder what they're doing with all three of these guys, though.
Mm.
Like, what the fuck are we doing? Is Otis and Gable going to be a tag team? Because they're not. You know what I mean? They're two guys who are paired together that come out a lot and always have singles matches. Are they a tag team or are they not? And if they're not, what the fuck are they doing? What's their goal here? Is Gable trying to get Otis to the Intercontinental title? Because they've never expressed that either. I don't understand where they're trying to go, and I don't understand what's happening with Cesaro, how he's involved in this, because he just came off of a win at WrestleMania against Seth fucking Rollins, and before that he had a loss for a Universal fucking title, and now he's in a story with Gable that I don't know where it's going. Pretty said something she wanted to say.
I kind of feel like they put him with Gable because he wasn't so hot when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and everyone thought this was going to be Otis's moment. And I mean, it's more or less a little forgettable. And I kind of feel bad because we all really loved Otis at that time, that character. And because maybe he, wasn't as strong as we all thought on the mic when it came to just being on his own, that they had to pair him with someone that they knew could be completely solid and kind of help him with that. I think. Yeah. That's my theory.
I mean, how much can you do if your whole promo is a Chris Farley impression?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because realistically, he might talk like that. It's possible you could talk like that in real life. I've known people who do voices all the time in real life because they get nervous. He was hiding behind being a fat guy who has to be funny. And he did promos in a Chris Farley voice. Well, Mandy. I don't think that this... I think that this was to show that he has a serious side that's legit. He's a fucking monster, dude. He's a human meatball that can just throw humans.
I'm hoping that this time with Gable elevates him and maybe helps him on the mic somehow.
Maybe. Or maybe less is more. Maybe he just doesn't have to talk so much because he just qualifies himself as a human wrecking ball. Goes out there with Miley Cyrus strapped to his back.
Hey! The hell?
What?
No.
Otis came in like a wrecking ball. Gav, do you agree or?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they first paired him up, I thought Gable was going to be, just the hype man, just the manager, the coach.
Yes.
And now it seems like he's in more matches than Otis.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
And then that was the whole thing too. At the same time, was it always felt like Gable, hey, join the Alpha Academy, was trying to propel himself.
Yes.
So maybe Otis hits a point where like, hey, now you're holding me back, and they have a thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I guess I just don't see it close enough to the Intercontinental title conversation, and I wish that this story was at least. I just wish that this story was at least like poking it. Like I wish Cesaro was seen talking to Shinsuke, being like, "Hey, we used to hold gold together. Now you're holding gold by yourself. I sure would love a shot at that thing." You know what I mean? Like something. Not that that's a good promo, but I'm saying something where you see a backstage moment where, because Cesaro and Shinsuke have history, and now Shinsuke's the IC champion holder. Why not at least tease that there is a conversation there? So when you have something like this with Otis or Gable getting wins over Cesaro, or even end up getting feud themselves, you can see it as a stepping stone towards that level, where right now it's just in its own bubble.
Yeah. Well, and then that's the weird part too, with just, looking at Shinsuke and Boogs now, like, hey, they're a tag team, it seems like, more so than Shinsuke being the IC champion.
Yes. 100%. And now they're a
At
tag
least
team.
The last couple weeks.
Yeah. They've really leaned into that. We'll see how it goes. I do like everyone involved in it. I think everyone's doing great stuff in both of those areas. But I just want to see those areas touch a little bit. Just a little, you know what I mean?
A little touchy.
After that, we did have the happiest man in the world, the mayor of Jackpot City, baby. Happy Baron Corbin. Happy Corbin comes out. Dude, I love his new intro with the fucking slot machines and shit. as much as I've loved every song he's ever had, I love this one still too. I think Corbin is can't miss, dude.
I don't know. I liked it. I kind of want to see where they're going with it though. Like, I'm not sold on it yet. Not buying in.
His stupid little hat that looks shitty. Probably hundreds of dollars. I like that he went down the line again of like, I showed up in that's this value. He's back to being a snobby son of a bitch with millions of dollars. But we always knew that he was like, I mean, he was begging for hundreds of thousands at a time. So like, it's just one of those things where it fucking works. He was trying to buy the briefcase off of Big E. Big E said he had some kids he had to get braces on, but he's been very open about not having a family or even a significant other. So it is curious to know which kids these are. I think even... Yeah. What? Whose?
Kofi's kids need braces.
Yeah. Kofi's all like, look, man, I don't got any titles anymore. Times are rough. Is there any way you can, with that money in the bank money, like, get my kids some braces? Yeah.
I remember during the show, actually, Xavier tweeted out, "Hold up, what kids?"
Yeah. He goes, I gotta know which kids Big E is responsible for getting braces. But it was good. I liked that whole segment. I thought it was good. It showed both characters in a really good way. I liked that Big E was being kind of a dick to Baron just because he's like, fuck you, dude, it's my briefcase. But I liked it. We'll see how it plays out. After that, we had Edge do a promo, followed immediately by Seth Rollins doing a promo. They were both like backstage floating head kind of promos like you'd see from like The Office or something. I thought it was a little interesting that they did it that way. Almost like we filmed this earlier, but here we go. But it worked, and I liked them both. Go ahead.
I was going to say on Edges, it said earlier today.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I felt that way.
I don't know about
told
Seth,
me to.
but yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Nailed it, man. That's how good I am at this. I feel like this could have been earlier today. Knew it.
Yep.
Knew it, guys. That was me.
Called it.
I called it. Journalism. I don't know if you noticed this, but all those fucking wrestling journalist sites, they all live tweet the show like they're giving news updates.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin tried to buy briefcase off of Big E. Hashtag SmackDown. You're like, okay. You're not giving news updates. You're just watching the show. There's a difference. Either way. I digress.
I just remembered some news that we forgot
Go
real
ahead.
quick because I put it up. We have new shirts on our site, on our Pro Wrestling Tees site / Wrestling on the Rocks, and there will be a sale coming up this weekend for Labor Day.
What's the code? Yeah.
Labor 20,
just trying to
probably
Labor 20. Let me look it up.
We'll post it.
I'll
We'll
get
post it
right
on
now.
socials.
I'll get it right now because you're all like, oh, let me do this thing I'm not prepared for.
I had the site on
Promo
right there.
code Labor Day on ProWrestlingTees.com / Wrestling on the Rocks for your 20% off all of our delightful. We have 6 designs. The newest of them all is Wrestling on the Rocks Overweight Champion. That's right. You don't have to hold this title to be an overweight champion. You can just get a red shirt. We made it Wolfpack style. I hope you guys enjoy it. It made me laugh when I made it. All right. Anything you want to say about Edge or Seth Rollins?
Not really. Just once again curious to see where they're going with it. It seems like, they're both aiming towards the same goal again. So.
It does. It feels like a shift has happened without much changing in a weird way. Like their whole story was so good, and it feels like, and now back to our regularly scheduled program. Because now they're both seemingly like right where they were when they started, and it was like a detour. But I love that about it. I love that it was like, look, we are both single-minded, but we are not going to be able to, either of us will not be able to move forward until we deal with each other because we are in each other's way. And now it's all like, you know what, fuck you, dude. do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing, and that's that. Like, I like it. It works, and it's two of the fucking best who put on a fucking phenomenal match. So yeah, no complaints.
I really enjoy this new Seth. I think his acting's just improved so much, and he's playing insane just so well. Just the little subtleties of his expressions are so great. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, love it. Let's see, as we keep going, Shinsuke and Rick Boogs come out and they have a match against the Dirty Dogs. What'd you think of Kevin Owens on commentary? Kevin Owens was there with Corey Graves and Michael Cole because Pat McAfee is out with COVID. They even announced it on the show. Cole opened the show and said, Pat McAfee is not with me today. He's got COVID-19. Like a bitch. He didn't say that last part, but he did. He says he's got COVID-19 and then says we got Corey Graves. He said former broadcast partner Corey Graves and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was wearing a tie. What do you think of all that?
Yeah. Dressed to impress. I do think it was interesting that they actually announced that Pat McAfee had COVID-19, which, I think they should have done that before with other people. But I think Kevin Owens is great. Like, he'd have his little remarks here and there, and it was good. I didn't mind it too much. Still mix Pat, but
yeah, 100%.
His energy was not what I was expecting, I think.
That's true. Kevin Owens was almost very relaxed.
Yeah, well, I think he was like still kayfabe. Like, that's the thing I get from him is just like, all right, just even kill. And when it's time for business, it's time for business type of thing. So I thought that's what he was, leaving out there or putting out there.
That's true. Yeah, and I thought a lot of the stuff he was doing was pretty well in kayfabe. I did enjoy when, Liv came out and said, neither one of you deserve these title shots. All you guys do is come out here and lose every week, talking to Zelina and Carmella. And then Kevin Owens goes, I think it's a very good point. Don't you, Corey?
Yeah.
And Corey was just silent because, I loved it. But I was just wondering what you thought about it because overall, I had the same kind of feeling all night of like, oh, Kevin Owens sounds really calm. He's like watching it, but I do like that he was putting over stuff. Like after the women's match too, he was like, that was a very good match, and I was like, don't get too excited, but I like that you said it. Let's see. After that, we did have Roman Reigns come over and confront Paul Heyman a little bit. Paul Heyman was like, "Nah." And Roman's all like, fuck. Let's see. Rick Boogs Shinsuke match. It was good. I don't think we're there yet. Let's see. Then Naomi. Woo! Everybody feel the glow.
That's not a good impression either.
You don't think you're going to get copyright on that one, do you, Kev?
She's back.
Yeah. Naomi's back, baby. What do you think of?
I thought it was interesting. Like when I saw her, I was, excited. But Sonia was just back to being, her and Adam Pearce, butting heads again, type of thing. It was weird how that kind of just sprung up out of nowhere.
And Sonia was doing her whole like, I guess it's fine that you're here, but nobody asked me, and so I don't know, and I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. Naomi's like, I just want to get into a match, and she's like, I just don't know where you're gonna fit in, so maybe.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
I think it would have been better.
Go ahead.
I think it would have been better if Naomi just showed up at the beginning. You know what I mean? Like during that whole promo, she's like, "Well, I'm here now," and then Sonya comes out like, "Wait, says who?"
Yeah.
So you could even have that angle in there and
have her pull her out of the match. This is gonna be a fatal 4-way match. Naomi, you and I have to talk. That'd have been fucking like, boom. That'd have been killer.
I think a lot more could have happened there instead of just her in the back. Is it like think of the pop the crowd would have gone, like, oh shit, she's here, and then hey, I'm on this brand now, and then Sonya's like, no, you're not, get back here.
Yeah. I don't know how you got here.
So,
Come on, I'm here. It's like, no, we're gonna have a fatal 4-way, and Naomi, you can see me in the back. We have to talk.
Yeah, for SmackDown roster only.
Yeah,
we need to talk.
Yeah, and then you can have Naomi give the stink face and shit too. Like, what the fuck is it? Like, get her all upset, And then do the same basic promo in the back afterwards, and then you're like, this shit's fucking happening. Do you have any theories here? Because I have a possible theory on how this could play out that would make me pretty happy. What did you think about this Naomi Sonia segment outside of what could have been?
I mean, I thought it was okay, but like I said, my mind immediately shot to this should have happened here. I think, it might be the return of, Sonia in the ring. Like, I don't know if that's any kind of possibility or anything like that, but
yep, I thought that
it
immediately.
Kind of felt to me like, Sonia is gonna try and hold her back until Naomi's like, all right, me and you.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. My first thought was, okay, this is how Sonya gets back in the ring. Sonya's going to get back in the ring with Naomi. My second thought was, and Naomi can be going up to Sonya for a couple weeks in a row, and Sonya could keep blowing her off. Then you see Naomi in the back with Jimmy Uso, and she's complaining, I can't get any legwork around here. I can't get anything done around here. I can't even just get a stupid match. Sonya this, Sonya that. And Jimmy saying, like, let me talk to Big Uso. Then you have the Usos in there with Roman being like, hey, man, you don't like to ask you for much, but we're having a hard time with Sonya on this. And Roman looks at them like, the fuck are you coming to me about it? And looks at Paul and says, handle this. And Paul's like, oh, yes, sir, right away, sir. Oh, yes, sir, go. And then Paul Heyman goes to Sonya and gets a match for Naomi, and that match happens to be against Sonya. Because he goes to Adam Pearce, I was going to say. He's going to go to Adam Pearce to get a match. He gets the match from Adam Pearce to be against Sonya.
I love the back and forth of Heyman going from speaking to Roman to speaking to Kayla. So great.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about that, Kev? What do you think about my new fantasy booking mentality of getting Naomi in the bloodline? Yes. Sonya back in the fold. And another Paul Heyman impression for you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that workout would be awesome, because they basically, I don't want to say like undisputed era type of thing, but they want all the gold, so
yeah,
they bring in Naomi, like, hey, she's a part of this too, and yeah, I mean, I think it'd be awesome if they're growing the bloodline faction.
Mm-hmm. Producer, something you want to say here?
I somehow would love it if Natty and Tamina were back in there too, so you'd have more bloodline, and then I'm not sure exactly where you put Natty, but I don't know. I love the idea of women joining the family too, or women from the family joining the bloodline. I would be super excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Like Naya?
No.
Oh. All right, never mind.
Keep it all on the same show. Keep it all on the same
Zelina?
show.
Zelina Vega.
There's plenty of room at the table for Naya.
That table gone buckle. No, I'm just kidding.
She's going to put a few people through the table.
Yes, yeah. If you invite Naya to the table, you're going to see Lana strewn across the half of it. Let's see. After that, we had the Mysterios. Ray's like, "Hey Dom, your balls dropped. It's time you go on your own." I thought that's what it was. This was like a Mysterio bar mitzvah.
He did not say that. No.
Dom had his quinceañera. He's ready to get out and be a man. Kev, is that how that played out? That's how I thought it played out.
Oh, 100%. I think next week he's gonna have the talk with him, the birds and bees.
Yeah. And Dom will
Seeing
have
him
like a little
blossom
bit of
to-
a little half mustache up top, a little wispy mustache.
Teach him how to shave in the back.
Yeah, that's what happened here.
He's getting
Can you
so much.
imagine- Can you imagine Ray showing Dom how to shave with the mask on?
So
When you
good.
take the razor.
It's fucking cream all over the mask.
Yeah.
Pritchett, I know you're listening. You're always listening. Bruce, we love you. Do it. Mhm. What were you about to say about Dom?
Dom's getting so much better in the ring.
He is. He's so good. Can you imagine this, dude? Think about this for a second. So we have this thing, and Rey Mysterio's all like, "Hey, you got to fly on your own, kid. You gotta go and lay your own eggs, and you gotta go smash your own beasts. You gotta be on your own and shave your own balls, you know." And then he's like, "I got you a match. I got you a 1-on-1. Get out there and knock him dead," and slaps him on his ass and sends him on his way. Dom has a match against Sami Zayn.
Okay.
Think about this for a second. He's only been wrestling for a year, Dom.
Yep.
You were there at SmackDown. You noticed the dark match that he was in, that he was running all month?
Yeah.
He's been in there learning from Roman, the Usos, Rey Mysterio, and John Cena for a month.
Yeah.
His first program was against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. Then he was wrestling against Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode forever.
Yes. And they're amazing.
And now he's in the ring with Sami Zayn? Like, holy shit, talk about a masterclass. I'm sure every wrestler wishes that their career could have been trained the way that Dom's is, on or off TV. You know what I mean? Regardless of the TV thing, to be like, you mean I can learn from all of those guys my first year? Fuck off. What?
It doesn't seem like he's taking it for granted, and that's awesome.
Yes. He's 100% appreciative of it. In every episode I've ever heard of him in an interview, he's always like, yeah, it's unfucking believable. He's like, my life is crazy. Kev, what do you think?
No, 100%. Like, you know, they're definitely grooming him for success.
Yes.
You know, he's in there learning from the best, you know, on and off TV, like you said, you know, taking bumps from them, you know, the sky's the limit, if you will, with him. And I think it's not often that WWE will also, like, play along with it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure Ray's like, hey, I want him to work with this guy, this guy, this guy. And a lot of times they'll just be like, yeah, sure, you know, whatever.
Right.
But for him to be with all those guys, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And notably, not an indie wrestler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you said that Ray had him work with the local company there in San Diego just to like learn how to.
As ring crew.
Yeah,
He had
learn
him
how to
doing
do
ring crew work.
But yeah, not actually training him there, right?
No, the training that Dom did before he got to WWE was he was working at an indie promotion as ring crew, building and tearing down the ring. And when the ring was available, Ray was running training with him, you know, doing the stuff. So he was learning from Ray the whole time, and you know, learning that, hey, sometimes your responsibility is taking care of the whole show. Like, you're setting up chairs, you're putting together the ring, you're doing the whole thing, you're selling tickets. Like, that was his deal. But he's not an indie wrestler. He's doing better than most NXT call-ups in their first year, i.e. Karrion Kross and Keith Lee, who I think Keith Lee doing really well with his initial run, where he was immediately in the story with Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. But now he's in a little bit of a stutter. We saw him on one of the dark matches. It was really good. But I don't know. I just want to throw that out there. That just watching this, I was like, God damn, Dom is learning from all of the best who ever do it. Just flat out from the beginning.
Yep. And when we were there live for SmackDown and SummerSlam, Dom was getting a hell of a lot of cheers. So crowd loves him.
Crowd loves him. I love the new shirt. Jeremy says he wants to get an encore of the Sami Zayn entrance. Is a good song. Is a banger. I liked Kevin Owens on commentary here because he was putting over how tough an opponent Sami Zayn is and how good Dom is. But he was saying, like, this is a hell of a task for this kid. He's like, believe me, I know. Former Universal Champion knows how tough Sami Zayn is. That dude is a bad motherfucker. And Dom is just a little baby. His balls just barely dropped. We just discussed it earlier. Why does she keep bringing up his balls? That was weird, right? You heard that. The way she said that? Was that was
You
weird?
guys see what I have to deal with.
Isn't that weird?
Her pitch definitely changed.
Yeah. Well, Sammy did win with a haluva kick, and then he teabagged Dom right before he ran out of the ring. Oh. But it was a fucking fantastic match, I thought. Oh, and that's the other thing. A ton of Dom's matches have had Charles Robinson in the ring. Kev.
What's up?
I was throwing it back to you. I was just saying the other thing I noticed is that a ton of Dom's matches have had Charles Robinson in the ring. So you're also learning from some of the legend refs on how to utilize a ref better. You know what I mean? Just fantastic. What were you going to say?
Definitely. And I mean, with Charles Robinson going to that point is, you know, he was thrown out of matches and stuff like that. Like, you know, the interactions with the refs. Not just, hey, he's calling my match.
Yep. He's learning how to communicate through a ref from a ref who's been doing it for 40 fucking years. He's, 30. He started in 92, I think. But a ref who's been doing it for like 30 years. He's learning how to cheat behind a ref's back without losing credibility on the ref. And he's learning how to get caught by the ref at the right times, the right ways. Like, fucking tremendous. It's so cool. But I loved the match. Dom got upset. He left. Rey Mysterio was all like, oh, pobrosito, as they say.
Wow.
What?
Poblocito.
Yeah, that's
Nailed it.
Yeah, that's what he says. He goes, my nino.
Oh my God! Stop.
What? And then Dom was all like, leave me alone. And he goes, oh, you got mocos? And, you know.
Stop it.
That's how it played out. But it was cool. So it's starting to show a little bit of tension between Ray and Dom. Ray's all like, you're on your own, bitch. And Dom's like, the fuck? Why? And then he gets kicked in the face. And his dad's all like, well, that's what happens. You get kicked in the face. And he goes like, fuck you, dude. I don't want to be kicked in the face.
You didn't.
So we're starting to build that tension of potentially having a reason to have a feud there without someone just blindsiding someone out of nowhere.
I mean, I don't know if I would say like a feud rather than just like a disagreement where I could see them parting ways, but not like fighting each other.
They can fight for.
Oh, no,
careers. Go ahead.
They're definitely fighting each other.
Yes. There's
You
no
know, what-
way in hell.
what-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what better, like, as a, you know, performer, like, what better way to retire than your son retiring you?
Just that. And your dad is someone that everyone dreams of wrestling, and you're telling me you never want to wrestle him? My ass. My ass.
Well,
I'm also flashbacking to a few weeks or like a few months ago where you said that why does everyone want them to fight? That doesn't have to happen.
It doesn't have to happen. But you build the right tension, and you can build in a great farewell for Ray that's meaningful. And what they were trying to say is they just wanted it to happen for it to happen. I want it to happen
Yeah.
for purpose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. They just wanted Dom to attack Ray, and it's like, no. Like, do it right. We'll have another Shawn Michaels type with Ric Flair. I love you, man. Ray and Dom will be crying at the end of it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and there's a possibility Dom wears the mask after that. No more of this hoodie shit. Because that's the thing. Even Ray talked about it, and I think it was his Chronicle. He talked about how he got his mask. Before he was Rey Mysterio, he was like the Blue Dove or something like that. And he had just a general throwaway mask. He ended up beating his uncle, and his uncle was Rey Mysterio, and he took on the Rey Mysterio name. But because his uncle still wrestled for a little bit, he was Rey Mysterio Jr. because people knew he was still doing it. But he had to earn that mask. You didn't just get donned it. So Dom can earn the mask from Ray when Ray's truly done. Fucking beautiful, man. And Vince, he's an old sentimental fool at this point. I'm convinced of nothing else. Everyone wants to talk about how evil he is in a robot. We see a lot of shit on TV that makes me go, I think Vince is crying. It means so much to him. Like, he is an old sentimental guy. So I just think. But yeah, I can see all that. What do you think of the new Bloodline shirt with Roman and the Usos and the pile of money?
I hated it. I don't like it at all. To me, it looks like an old Cash Money Records CD cover.
Yeah.
It just 100%. Needed the blinged out, Bloodline.
Oh, it was like Sopranos.
Yeah. I agree. I liked the design in a way that I thought that's cool they put that together, but also in a way of I would never want that shirt.
Well, I just didn't understand because they were never about because to me it seems like the Hurt Business and Usos made a shirt or Bloodline made a shirt together because they were never about the money. It was always about the history, this and that. The table was never cash on the table type of thing in my eyes. I could be wrong, but that's the way I always viewed it.
They never said money, but he did say this is how I feed the family. This is how I take care of all of us. So money was implicated. But you're right. They never said straight up, I make more money as the champion.
Yeah.
So you're right in that aspect too. But they did.
But normally, the head of the table, it's not, I don't know. When I think of shit like that, it's like, hey, here's a stack. Go feed your family. Go buy groceries type of thing. I didn't think it was just all out on the table. Because even that, I didn't get a good look of it, and I didn't go on the shop because I didn't care to. But it looked like the Usos were, like I said, Cash Money Records, old CD. They were posing with stacks, I think. And I was like,
I did notice on the back it says "We the Ones," and there's a finger coming up like this, and I took note of that because I remember when we were there at SmackDown Live. In their match, they kept pausing. Their taunt was they kept pausing, going to a corner turnbuckle. You saw it, and they would all three put up a 1. And I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" And they were conditioning the audience to know that "We the Ones" is coming, and it's going to be our new taunt. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And I saw the shirt.
Well, they did that.
Oh,
yeah, they did that. I think this week, might have been even last week, where they got in the ring and. I don't know. I don't remember if 2 of them or all 3 of them did it, but I know they did that on TV, and I was like, "Yeah, there it is."
Yeah, because they had a shirt coming, but it was all good. They did have Roman come out right before he goes out. Paul Heyman's trying to give the title to Roman, and Roman's like, "The fuck's your problem?" And he's all like, "Well, it's a family affair," and Roman's all like, "You family. Bitch,
you're on the shirt. God damn it!
You're on the goddamn T-shirt.
At the table.
Dude. Yeah. How am I fucking supposed to sell this T-shirt? You can't even come out, man. You're on it. But he comes out. Paul goes with him. Ladies and gentlemen, your tribal chief has granted you permission to acknowledge Roman Reigns. Fucking Finn Balor comes out, says, "Fuck you, dude." He's like, "Shasham, shasham." What?
Doesn't say that.
Yeah. He goes, "You got me lucky title." And he says, I was going to challenge you for extreme rules. He goes, I don't trust anybody. He goes, everyone around here is bitches. I want to fight you next week. And Roman's like, all right. Sure. Yeah, why not? I don't know why you make a deal of it. But it was cool. I like the idea of Finn versus Roman. I think that something happens here. Finn does take a few swings at Roman. The Usos start beating the shit out of him. That's when the Street Profits come out and ruin the show.
Yeah.
And then Roman just left as Street Profits and Finn Balor just beat the absolute shit out of the Usos, sticking it to them.
Real hard.
Yeah.
Jeremy's in the chat saying that was Finn's promo, word for word.
Yeah. Jeremy knows. I don't make up shit here. I'm a reporter. I'm a wrestling journalist. I called it like it is, and I call it down
verbatim.
Verbatim. I'm how you keep up to date. But I love the segment. I like the idea of Finn Balor versus Roman. I'm a little bit nervous about where we go from here. I do know that Edge and Seth are looming about, and I liked the idea of having a Balor, a Cena, a Seth, an Edge, all in the conversation of what order are we going to have matches for Roman.
Yeah.
I really hope we're not just getting Finn out of the way because the conversation was there. I kind of want this match to end up in a fucking schmoz. I don't want this match to end clean. I really don't. And I know that everyone's going to hate on that. Okay, go ahead.
No, yeah, I think, you don't end it clean. I just hope the Street Profits stay away, but I don't think that's going to happen. But, you don't end it clean. You leave the conversation open, and Finn can always come back and be like, hey, we never settled it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And throw a triple threat in there. You know what I mean? We have fucking 3 guys looking to take the title, so you got 4 people in the picture. Have a fucking Seth, Finn, and Roman match somewhere in there. Have a Seth and Roman one-on-one. Have a Finn one-on-one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do it up. We have the opportunity to have some fucking remarkable matches and storytelling. Let's do it. I hope this isn't just one and done, get Finn out of the way.
Yeah. Because that was the whole bit, too, with me that I was pretty disappointed about. It was like, well, where's Brock?
That's what I was going to ask in the beginning. How did you feel about Brock not coming out on SmackDown? Tell me what you think.
Yeah. I mean, it left... This is the, SmackDown where you would think he'd make an appearance. Even if it's just like something small and stupid. Because, the whole SummerSlam thing happened. He looks at Roman. I don't think he gestured the title motion type of thing.
Yeah.
But, some kind of appearance.
Is that going to be
Even
the
if it
schmoz?
was... No, I don't think so.
That could be the deal. Brock could cost Finn the match. Then you can end up in a Brock, Finn, Roman match, and then end up with the Brock and Roman match proper. And hopefully Finn gets back in the title picture somewhere. You could. But you're right. There's a whole other person I totally forgot about's already in the picture too. Here's the deal. I was disappointed he wasn't there. But I also thought it works for Brock. The psychology of it. I'm going to stare you down after you have this fucking drag-out brawl with John Cena. I'm going to fucking laugh in your face. I'm going to throw John Cena's dead carcass around like I'm a butcher. And then I'm just going to show up whenever I fucking feel like it. It's kind of like having the Money in the Bank looming, but it's Brock in the bank. You know what I mean? Roman's already got to worry about Big E, realistically, and he hasn't talked about that once. He's never brought up Big E. He doesn't see Big E as a threat, which also maybe that's what happens here. Maybe Finn Balor gets Roman on the ropes. Big E comes out, smashing them both with fucking briefcases. Maybe the New Day show up and take out the Usos, And then you have Big E cash in on Roman and take it. And it's like, what the fuck is this? We all thought we were going Brock and Roman, and now Big E's the champion. Well, it could be cool. Swerve, baby.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just saying there's options, and it's exciting, and I love watching wrestling. Although Bishop's probably in listening right now and being like, "This why don't fantasy books when that shit doesn't happen? I'm gonna be pissed." But the thing is, Bishop, what you don't understand, Bruce Pritchett, big fan of the show, always drinking with us. Bruce, we hear you, we get it, Bruce. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's not a disappointment. It's more of just like you get excited when, you're always right.
Well, I get excited when I'm right, but also, go ahead, Kev.
I was gonna say, but we don't get pissed off when we're wrong. Saying,
Yes.
"Oh, they changed it last second."
Oh, they got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am always willing to accept that different isn't always better, and that includes my own different. Just because I envision it a certain way and it goes a different way doesn't mean it's worse by definition because I came up with it. I'll tell you, my biggest thing, Kev, I don't know if I've talked to you about this yet or not, but my biggest pet peeve in the wrestling community, in the IWC, at which we hold accountable here at the dive bar of the IWC, people who go, "That was done perfectly, I would have done it the same way." Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. If you in the IWC love everything a company does because it does it every way you would do it, because you've been able to predict everything along the way, I'm not buying into this. It's superior because I agree all the time. I don't like movies where in the beginning of the movie I go, "Oh, it's going to be, this is the big twist at the end," and then it is. And you're like, "Yeah, that's how I would have done it." No. I want me to think, "Oh, I bet it's this," and then go, "What? It's not that, it's this." I want to be worked. I want to be surprised. I want to enjoy high-level people doing things at a level that I can't do it on. I don't want to sit there and go, "I'm so glad the person in charge thinks the same way I do who knows nothing." Go ahead, Kev. What were you going to say?
Well, two things. That's one of the reasons why, I like the pops. I like the surprises. I like the swerves. I stay away from the dirt sheets and shit like that. But if these people that always say that, why haven't they won the $25,000 from DraftKings every goddamn pay-per-view?
Yeah, why aren't you winning the DraftKings, motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you can make a career after that. If.
Dude, can you imagine if you just got so good at DraftKings that you're like, "This is what I do for a living"?
Yeah.
I would love to fucking retire because I watch enough wrestling that on DraftKings I do very well.
Yeah.
You play the stocks? Not exactly. I play DraftKings. And I love wrestling. So here's the deal. I'm pretty good at knowing when a match is going to be 8 minutes.
This is what I can do.
Yeah. So good. So good, dude. But I love it all, man. I love it. To me, for my money, for my buck, for my jackpot city, SmackDown is the best wrestling show every week to me. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, they just, top to bottom, you look at the roster and the storylines, and it's I don't want to say it's all compelling, but good 90-95% of it's compelling and interesting.
Yeah.
And it really flies by.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to bring up a point right now.
I was gonna say, you look at the timer on Raw, and you're like, "Oh God, I still got an hour. Come on."
Yep.
Most of the time with SmackDown, you're like, "Oh, it's over. Come on."
Yeah. Every time with
Bullshit.
SmackDown, it's all like, "Come on."
Yeah. Give
Dude,
me more.
Yeah.
Give me what I want.
I wouldn't be. Dude, can you imagine if that's what is making Rampage do good? People see SmackDown, it's so good, they just need more wrestling right away, and they're like, "Well, Rampage is on." Although I would never do that. Kev, I think we're just gonna talk about Raw. There was something I was gonna say in between there, and it's just gone. This On the Rocks premium cocktail It's fantastic. OTR cocktails for anybody interested. Check them out and beg them to sponsor our show. Say, hey, OTR cocktails. WOTR, the show, needs sponsors. And they like drinks and beverages and cocktails and rocks and ons and thes. Producer's going to say something?
Actually, when I posted the photo on Instagram, Instagram was trying to tell me, this looks like sponsored content. Would you like to pay for content? And I said, well, I would like to. However, we're not sponsored. So
I would love to. I would love to, Instagram. But I can't. I just can't. So I was going to say, moving on to Raw, if you're ready to move on to Raw. Is there anything about SmackDown you want to throw out there? You thought we missed? I thought we really dug in deep on that one. We went deep.
Real deep.
Real deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Rock steep. So as I was watching Raw, not deep, I noticed the counter on it. Raw was in 2 hours and 5 minutes without commercials.
Okay,
All right.
we're listening.
I'm steadfast in my belief that the reason people think that Raw drags ass is because there's literally a third of the show is commercials. And every time something starts to happen, it's broken up by 4 minutes of commercials. Not only are they just commercials, they're the same commercials 2 to 3 times in a row. So you're so fucking annoyed by the commercials that you don't even realize that you're only getting about 25 to 35 minutes more content than SmackDown. Because SmackDown is about, without commercials, an hour 35 to an hour 45. They have a really short amount of commercials, which is remarkable for it being the most popular show they have, highest rated, premium network, all that shit. You'd think that the sponsors and commercial buyers would say, we need every fucking minute of that show we can get. But people who say it's more difficult to write for 3 hours than 2 hours and say that that's the problem with Raw, I think are neglecting the idea that there's double the amount of advertising in Raw, and it's spreads the show thin.
I think a lot of that kind of, almost supply and demand type of thing, where you have so limited spots, you can ask for a premium price for it.
Oh, that's good contract stuff right there. That's why we got you around.
Yeah.
Yep.
Normally, hey, commercial costs is kind of like with the Super Bowl, where, hey, we only have this many windows, it's this much, and people or, companies buy it. So I'm willing to bet Fox is probably doing that with SmackDown.
although
Hey, we only have this many spots a week. We're going to double it.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Every SmackDown's a Super Bowl. Love it.
although this last one, didn't it get something crazy like 2 million?
It was like 3.
I would think with that much viewership, that maybe they would start having similar contracts or start saying like, hey, less commercials, you got to pay more if you want to be on this time slot or something like that.
That's what he's saying. That's what Kevlar is exactly saying, is that you have less commercial time on SmackDown, but it's a premium show that you can say like, hey, you got to spend Super Bowl money to get on SmackDown, bitches.
Yeah, do that for Raw.
No. Fuck Raw. But, I mean, if they're having a difficult time writing for 2 hours instead of an hour 45, I think there's a different issue here. Go ahead.
But the other thing is just the time slot. SmackDown's on Friday. You don't want people switching channels, from the, because they're not getting enough content.
Yeah.
You got too many commercials, you're flipping channels. Like Mondays or whatever.
All right, so we got.
I lost audio.
Oh,
So Raw opened up with
Raw did open up. Try now. You connected. Back, baby.
technical difficulties. Have a drink.
Raw, open up.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. You gotta get ice. You never let me get ice. Can you tell them what it Raw opened up with?
Raw open up with Damian Priest, baby. Damian Priest coming out U.S. champion, kicking assholes, taking names. Oh, Kev, are you there? So my audio switched over to my phone. I'm not on the computer, so I can't hear what's going on here.
Uh-oh.
Kev?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. Back again, baby. You still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So open up with Damian Priest. Was there
Yes.
stuff that I missed? I feel like there was conversation happening when all that audio stuff went down. Technical difficulties, first episode. Don't worry. Every show is our first show, and every episode is episode 1. And if you want your Wrestling on the Rocks episode 1 again shirts, ProWrestlingTees.com/Wrestling on the Rocks. Put in this weekend. It's all right. I'm going to be fine. Labor Day for 20% off to get your episode 1 shirts and your Overweight Champion shirts. They're all there, man. So, yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about before, but Damian Priest comes out. He says, welcome to Monday Night Raw. He says, bienvenidos. He calls Bobby Lashley a little bitch.
Yep.
Puta. Sheamus comes out and goes, oh, you got to be gold. Oh, that's all my gold. That's what he
Give
said.
me back my Lucky Charms.
Give me back me lucky gold. Oh, you got the old U.S. Championship, eh? That's literally what Sheamus said. Drew McIntyre comes out and he's all like, oh, hey, my shit in my pants. He didn't even come out with a sword. I loved that. He brought it out later.
He did for the match.
Exactly. Yeah. So he comes out and he's all like, the one title that's eluded me. I was like, I don't give a shit. And it's also not the only title that's eluded you. Did he ever have the Universal title? Did he?
Yes. I think? No.
No. And he's only had the Raw Tag Champions. He's never had the SmackDown Championships. There's fucking titles that's eluded him. He had the NXT World. He didn't have the North American. There's fucking titles that have eluded him. This made no sense, and I said, Drew, get the fuck out of here. But
Did he get the 24/7?
he never got 24/7. Talk about eluding him. Did he even have the Intercontinental? Did he ever have the Intercontinental?
I think he did when he first was with the
That's
company.
right.
He was
Like
getting his
20
push.
years ago. Yeah.
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 But it's a new IC though, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. He doesn't have the new Shinsuke Sami Zayn version. Getting more of these on the rocks. It's just good. But he comes out. Then Bobby Lashley comes out. Bobby comes out with MVP. The crowd starts chanting Goldberg. What'd you think about that?
I mean, I think the crowd's playing into WWE's hands. Like, this is what they wanted. They wanted the unfinished business. They wanted, something down the road. Even
Crazy,
with that
right?
Weird little, the little, hey, Goldberg, you're walking
yeah.
out of your house.
Yeah, they just catch him somewhere. He's like a
Garage.
car shop or fucking AutoZone or something.
Yeah.
The objective has changed. I was like, that dude sounds like a gun-wielding jackass when he says it that way.
Yep.
One of those dudes has a really busy T-shirt that just says in so many words, I'm a badass and no one could beat me in a fight, and you're just not sure if it's true or not. You know what I mean? Like tap-out shirts, Ed Hardy shirts. When you go, the
Affliction,
objective... Yeah, Affliction. The objective has changed. I'm not going after your title. I'm going for your soul. And I'm going to pull that soul right out of your chest with my hands physically from your chest. It was a little weird, but it was intense.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Goro Lesnar now, so
Lesnar does look like Goro.
you just need
yeah.
a second set of arms.
I thought that too. I was like, that's really bizarre. The crowd is chanting Goldberg, and it's absolutely, like you said, playing into their hands. It's like, this is exactly what they want. MVP's all like, we handled that business. That dude's a twerp. His kid's a little bitch. And then...
Gauge, not a 12 gauge. Look like a BB gun out there.
That's a good point. Little BB gun. RK Bro comes out. They cut their promo, which I'm sure you loved.
Yep. It's so stupid, but awesome.
No. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville go out there and they say, hey, we see 2 marquee matches. We got a triple threat for the U.S. Championship. We got a Raw Tag Team Championship with RK Bro and Bobby and MVP. I liked that as an opening segment to set up what the main events were going to be for a reason. I know there was... Go ahead.
To me, it felt like... And SmackDown opened up the same way, where it was just like a casting. All right, now this person go out. Now this person come out. And I'm like... Cool it with it. Like... It reminded me that episode of like South Park, where the Simpsons did it first. Like SmackDown did it first. Like,
oh yeah.
Anyways,
no, I got you.
And especially the whole Naomi thing. Going back to that real quick, like Sonya and Adam are okay with each other on Raw.
Yes.
I thought that was weird, but anyways.
Well, they didn't really interact outside of Raw, though. Or, like, outside on SmackDown. Sonya and Adam Pearce, they've been having that weird tension from time to time. But realistically, they haven't really played into the tension thing in a while. But you're right. On SmackDown, Adam Pearce wasn't present, where here they were. And, you know, yeah, I guess you never really see the Adam Pearce and Sonya like, hey, what was that shit with Naomi you were trying to pull? You know what I mean? You didn't see any of that for sure.
Like, even, like, I wouldn't have minded if Pearce was like, hey, you know, we see this match, and then Sonya, like, cuts him off. We're going to have the triple threat for the U.S. title. And he kind of looks at her like, yeah, I was about to say that, you know, but...
Yeah, 100%. What I also like, too, is they were all, like, challenging each other, and then they're like, no, we're not doing any of this. Instead, we're going to do everything you guys just said.
Yeah.
So, but I actually really liked a lot of the talk here. I really enjoyed Damian Priest on the mic here. I thought he was doing great.
I think he did great on the mic. Definitely feels like he's away from that Bad Bunny shadow. Yeah. Like he's his own individual again. Like, all right, cool. Like, go with it, you know.
Mm-hmm. This is cool too. Right after that segment, WWE posted online who's going to walk out with the United States Championship, and it was one of those polls where they have Drew, Damian, Sheamus. The overwhelming majority. It looks like they had almost 11,000 votes. Damian Priest won at almost 70%. Drew McIntyre just over 26%. Sheamus at 4.9%, which I think is also a shame because Sheamus is so fucking good. But people are that confident in Damian Priest right now. They're like, this match is set up for Damian. However, I don't think people thought it was going to end the way that it ended, and I'm glad it did, to be honest.
Yeah, going into it, I thought for sure. I thought Priest was going to retain, but I thought Priest was going to beat Sheamus. Yeah. And for Drew to put him over, I'm like, all right, cool. You know, obviously we'll get to that, but I was like, it was a nice little surprise, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see, that segment, which I thought was overall solid, was followed up by Nia Jax grabbing a microphone and ruining my night. She just...
Later.
Well, later. No, right here she had the mic because the match was Rhea versus Shayna, and Nia fucking gets on the mic and starts talking, and you're like, oh, you're not good at talking. Like, just be imposing or something. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I'm not supposed to like her. So there's a good chance I'm getting worked and she's hamming it up and just being more screechy than she normally would. And I mean, if that's the case, I'm on board, like, as far as that goes. But as far as it goes, she starts talking, and I'm like, boo! Boo!
See, like, I was almost waiting for, like, a Vicky Guerrero. Excuse me!
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning of it.
She's real close to that, for sure.
Yeah.
But the match itself, I thought was solid. Rhea versus Shayna, I thought was a decent match overall. It seemed a little clunky at times, but I felt like it got there, did what it was doing. Nia comes in at the end and just kind of beats the shit out of everybody, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. But kind of just was what it was.
But she said, but that was the thing when she grabbed the mic. She said that I'm gonna beat you and I'm gonna beat you when it's over.
Yeah,
why? That doesn't
smash
even make sense. Yeah, and then it happened. She's smashing and stacking them.
She smashes and stacks them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Scattered and tattered. You know, she hash browns their asses.
Yeah.
What? That's how they do it at Waffle House. You can go to Waffle House and get
shit.
This. Smothered and covered. Captain tapped. It has that. Anyone go to Waffle House? It's there. I swear to God. I wonder how many wrestling promo taglines and catchphrases have been come up with inside of a Waffle House, because it's probably more than you think.
Yeah.
But after Nia smashes and caps them and taps them, we had the Viking Raiders cut a little promo, which I thought was cool. I want to ask you this now, because it was here. The Viking Raiders are wearing these big crazy helmets.
Yes.
No one's got a problem with those, am I correct?
Right. The Vikings.
They're Vikings.
They rape and pillage.
They're raping and pillaging like they do. Karrion Kross comes out with like a helmet that's not too different from their headgear. Matter of fact, if you go back and look at their I think it was one of the WrestleMania ones. It was actually the one they won at Wrestle Kingdom that they brought over with them to WWE. It was like red and like a skull cap almost. It looks really close to what Karrion Kross is wearing, and people are fucking up in arms about what Karrion Kross is, and he's a gladiator. And he takes it off during his entrance. Like, I guess, like, I get that it's a little bit weird at face value immediately, but is it that fucking awful, or am I just off, Kev?
I think it's bad, but I think the reason why, once again, is just the sudden change. All of a sudden. Suddenly. Quick. You know, like, it was just, boom, he has it. I think, because, you know, I've seen comparisons to, you know, the Sultan and Demolition and shit like that. I want Kross, especially right now, because he's kind of lost. I want him to join the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, because I keep thinking of Crush joining Demolition. And I loved it. I was all for it. Cool, let's do it. Let's add a third Raider.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how you would get there, but I want to see that. Especially since they are so, you know, pretty similar right now.
They really are quite similar in my book, and I mean, I agree with you. I don't know how you would get there, but I wouldn't be opposed to it if they did get there. Teaming them up would, I think, be great. And can you imagine that? Like, even if they brought in Scarlett and they did the whole fucking show with the fall and pray thing, and you got Karrion Kross screaming right behind Charlotte, and behind Karrion Kross are the Vikings doing their Viking Raider shit right next to him, like, that could be fucking imposing, man. That could be some scary shit.
Yeah. Well, not only that, because, you know, a lot of times in the Viking Raiders matches, they yell in the face of the opponent. And Kross did the same exact thing this week.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's there. Like I said, I don't know how you get there, you know, but you get there. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would be amazing.
You know how you get there? you have a promo with the Viking Raiders where they say their thing, and at the end of the promo, Scarlett walks on screen. At this point, you've never seen her, but you see her walk on screen. She looks at both of them and whispers in one of their ears and walks away. And then that guy looks at the other guy, and it just goes away. And you go, what the fuck was that? And Corey Graves all like, what was that about? Who is she?
Yeah.
And then the next time you see him, you see her standing behind Karrion Kross as he walks over to the Viking Raiders or some shit, or they all come out together. Or the Viking Raiders come out with Scarlett. And then right behind her comes Karrion Kross. And it's all like, she was doing this all along. She's been spinning the wheels. She's using her wiles. I don't know how they say it. To get what she wants. And what she wants is more Vikings, more ratings. More gladiatings. More smashing and stacking, smothering and covering.
Raping and pillaging.
Probably.
I wish the fans weren't such shits to him.
Dude, I know you haven't been watching NXT in quite a while, but one of the things I despise about NXT right now, one of the things that makes NXT hard to watch, as a real brief side note, is the fans. The audience in the CWC are fucking dickholes. They are asses. I can't stand them, dude. They boo everyone who's putting forth the most effort and cheering heavily for the campiest bullshit. They were such assholes to Karrion Kross when he left. Literally after the match with Samoa Joe where he lost, they were booing him, chanting Jeff Hardy, screaming, "You've made a mistake," and singing like "na na na na." And you're like,
Really?
the fuck is your guys' problem? Like, he's put on easily, without question. If I had to do a top 5 NXT matches of the year, he's 2 of them. The matches he had with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly are so hard for me to distinguish from, like, absolute best matches of the year. You know what I mean? He's in the top 5 conversation, specifically. And for them to do that, it's like, fuck off. Like, they boo MSK, who easily are the best talkers in the tag team division outside of the Usos in any company. And they were indie darlings. People were obsessed with them when they were the Rascals. They show up to NXT and they're like, boo, we don't want you. Fuck off. These guys have been working their asses off, and they're one of us. Fucking Nash Carter's story, if you haven't seen it, look it up. There's pictures of him with his dad watching Cena. It's just crazy, dude. The CWC is full of dick-ass fans, but we'll talk about that tomorrow night. I just want to let you know.
Karrion's great to his fans. He likes, like, any comment you make that's positive on Instagram. You know?
Karrion Kross is very interactive with his fans online, and I think it's fantastic. Sorry about the side note about Karrion Kross and the CWC. I apologize, Kev. But Viking Raiders got a win over Jinder Mahal's cronies, and it was good. But that's all I had to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was what it was. It was, good squash match, really.
Yeah, 100%. After that, we did have the triple threat of Sheamus. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think that's how you get there? You have Jinder and his cronies, and it's 3-on-2, and then Cross just goes out there and helps the Viking Raiders?
Yeah, that could do it. Especially if the Viking Raiders like, we know we're outnumbered. And that's the promo where Scarlett shows up. And then Jinder Mahal and his cronies against the Viking Raiders and someone to be named.
Yeah, find somebody.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, I've got an idea. She's like, I've got a deal for you.
And she does her little cards, her little tarot cards.
She does the old tarot cards. She has her boobs all out up in her nose.
Hey.
She did that on NXT.
Yeah, and then they made horrible boob jokes.
It was weird.
They weren't good with it. So.
They were not good.
No.
But if NXT does it terribly, Raw can do it worse.
No.
Why not?
No.
There was a promo you missed, Kev, where she came out and said that she was trying to get a match for Carrion, and she just like had her boobs way out, and like everyone was like obnoxiously staring at her boobs, and she's like, "You agree, right?" And they're like, "Meh," and it was like fucking weird. They're like, "I'm thirsty for milk," and you're like, "Stop it!"
They're like, they're just so big.
Yeah.
Like, they're real.
Yeah, are they real? Your nails. And it was like, fuck off. It was crazy, dude. It was insane.
Bad.
It was insane. You would have loved it, Kev. You would have loved it.
It was awful.
I'm a fan of boobs.
That's a good point. You always have been. As long as I've known you, man.
Yeah.
So that's how you could do it. Jinder and his cronies against Viking Raiders and a partner of their choosing, and you have Scarlett come out and be like, "Hey, boobies?" And they go, "Listening." And then everyone falls and prays. Oh yeah, you could do that. I'm into that. We did have a triple threat following that. We had Sheamus, Damian Priest, and Drew McInFart. This match was actually, I mean, tell me what you thought. What do you think?
It was good. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I'm getting, the only thing I'm not liking is I'm over the spots where Drew, same guy.
Yeah.
Where he has a spot where he's hanging upside down on the turnbuckles and does his little CrossFit sit up, and I'm so sick of that spot.
Yes.
Like the
Yes,
first
it's terrible.
time or two was like cool, and it's like every match now it's like fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sick of that spot. But outside of that, it was a good match. You know, we talked about it earlier. I was surprised by the outcome. Not the outcome, but the finish.
Yes.
And I think it was great. I think it pushes Damian. You know, Drew put him over, Sheamus put him over. Like, it definitely gives him this huge boost. And I like it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it was great. The match was awesome. I love the crowd started getting into it really and started chanting, "This is awesome." I thought it was a great match. I love that Damian Priest went over by pinning Drew McInFart, because I think it does two things. For one, it really elevates Damian Priest. He's a champion. He didn't just win a title. He's a champion. And he is willing to fight for it. This means everything to him as a character. Drew McInFart taking the loss, I think, is really important for him. If we're ever going to build sympathy back up for Drew McInFart, it's going to be through him losing and not just being in the top of the card all the time, winning everything always. They did that with her in the pandemic because there really wasn't a lot of options. You didn't know what was going to happen. They're like, "Hey, we need somebody who can just go home right away and never leave and never accidentally get COVID." And Drew's like, "Yeah, I don't have any friends." I'm like, "We know." I'm just kidding. But he did his thing there. Yeah. Fella! I think it was really good because they even showed McInFart looking distraught, looking like he had an oily discharge, just uncomfortable and unhappy. What? Is that not the facial expression he made? Kev.
Yeah.
It's not the description.
Yeah.
You should make.
That's the same face I've made every time.
Every time he sharded.
Isn't getting better.
Just saying.
You even sat there and wallowed in it for a second, moved around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's there. It happened.
Yeah. Simmering, squatting.
Mhm.
Yeah. The whole shebang. The whole splatter. You know what I mean? So I just think that it's good for Damian. He looks like a badass. And it's good for McInFart because we can start to feel bad for him and be like, what happened to that guy? He was winning all the time, and now he can't win one to catch his goddamn life. And then people can get behind him. Go ahead.
He's the new Corbin.
Yes. Yeah, we need a
Now that Corbin's
happy
happy.
McInFart.
Yeah. That's sad McIntyre.
Yeah. Sad McInFart, where he's lost all his money. That's where we're going, man. And it's a good thing. I
Loses his
did
sword.
think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
He sells
I was
the
just gonna
sword.
say it. Yeah. at the end of the match, you know, they're doing the handshake. Like, I wanted this to be Drew's turn. Like, I wanted him to Claymore Priest so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. Come on, do it. You know, look like he's about to shake his hand and then just Claymores him, gets pissed off and takes the sword and walks away.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see that, but that's just me. Not just me, but that's what I wanted to see.
It's close to what I was about to say. I was about to say that the handshake between Drew and Damian was so gratuitously self-serving for McInFart that I wished it was a turn. Because it was this whole thing where McInFart's like, I'm the most important person in this whole company, and Damian has my respect. Fuck off.
Yeah. It kind of, like, the whole Undertaker Jeff Hardy thing. That's what it kind of felt like, and I was like, wait, it's not the same. This isn't anywhere near that. Yeah.
Yes. People saw those moments. These fucking marks. No, I'm just kidding. These people saw these moments where The Undertaker shook John Cena's hand. And he shook Jeff Hardy's hand after things. And people went, oh, shit. A sign of respect from one of the most beloved in the business. This guy must be legit.
Yeah.
And now every motherfucker thinks that they can just shake any other asshole's hand and it's going to mean something. It fucking doesn't, dude. It does not. You're not Undertaker. You're McInFart. You're a sword with oily discharge. What? I'm just saying. A handshake from Drew doesn't mean jack shit to me. Right, they might be fans, but I'm just saying, bottom line, there's no history with McInFart. He doesn't have the legacy that even Undertaker had at that point. He's a fucking 2-time champion in a 1-year span who fucking had an 8-year hiatus because he fucked up. He's not the legend. And that's exactly what I think your point was so perfect, Kev. Undertaker shakes someone's hand and everyone went, oh shit. That guy must be respected in the back. Drew shakes someone's hand and I go, fuck off. Like, your ego's above you, dude. You think you're the biggest fucking deal. You think you're the biggest fucking locker room leader. You think you've been doing this forever at this highest fucking level. You've been doing it at a high level for a year. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not to discount that. It's to say that Drew shaking someone's hand is not equivalent to a sign of respect from an entire locker room that Undertaker shaking John Cena's hand meant. It just isn't. Mm-hmm. No one's going to go back and say, it was that moment when Drew shook Damian's hand that I knew Damian was going to be a star. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But even, like, because I understand what they were trying to do, you know, the whole showing respect type of thing. But even I would have been okay with the, you know, raising his hand. I'm like, all right, you got one, you know, good
that would have been better.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
But the whole, like, build up and, you know. Yes. I like how Drew was going for a shake and then Priest kind of just dabbed him, like, yeah. I thought that was funny. It was awkward, but funny.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know where you've been. But that's 100% right. Raising someone's hand, to me, if you're not The Undertaker, means so much more than you shaking your hand. If you go to shake their hand, that tells me you have a sense of self-importance.
Yeah.
And I need to know why you have that sense of self-importance. And if I can't see it on screen, I assume it's from a place of shallow ego and vanity. Is what that is.
Yeah, and not even just, I was going to say, not even just a handshake, but the build-up handshake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if after a match it was a quick handshake and a hug, like, hey, good job, you know, it's like, all right, cool, he did it. But the whole, like, not so much Macho Man, you know, shaking the Hogan's hand, but, like, they built it up too much. And it's like, yeah, it's not anywhere near that level.
It's not. And that's 100% right. And I think you're right with, if you hold up someone's hand and says this person was victorious, it shows that this is the better man tonight.
Mm-hmm.
This guy won. Where when you go out for that slow handshake, you're saying, I am so important that it is meaningful, I'm going to shake his hand. And that
Yeah.
is an ego that needs checking unless you are of a certain level. And like you said, with The Undertaker, there's no fucking doubt. You see that and you go, oh, it's the goddamn Undertaker. You see that from The Rock and you go, God damn, that's The Rock. He doesn't need to do that. You know what I mean? But like, for people to not be on that level and do it, it shows a level of self-importance where you believe that you're there. And to be honest, and to be fair, maybe you have to believe you're on their level to get to their level. Right? Maybe it's not a bad thing that Drew thinks he's on that level. Maybe it's what drives him to eventually get there.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a
can see that.
prematurity to being comfortable there. You know what I mean? Don't think you're there yet. Hope you're getting there. And to be honest, I mean, obviously, I don't know these guys. I'm not trying to bury a dude. I fucking respect all these guys. I'm sure that there is a humble side of Drew McIntyre entirely where he goes, oh, I could only dream of being as big and as important as those guys.
We hope.
We hope that there's that side, right? But I don't know. So I'm not trying to say this in this like, Barry, oh, fuck this guy or anything like that. Like, nothing but respect. Nothing but respect. I'm just talking as a drunk idiot online who has a podcast for no goddamn reason other than hang out with his friends and talk to his drinking buddies and sell a couple T-shirts. I'm not trying to talk as some sort of expert that Drew's got to listen to and then go, oh my God, I can't believe this. No. If I see Drew face to face, I'll shake his hand and say, goddamn respect to you, dude. You beat yourself up every night. I think it's important.
As long as it's a slow handshake.
A slow one. It's got to be a build-up. He'll put his hand out and I'll be all like, I don't know.
See one of those look around and
Yeah. 100%. And I just wanted to throw that out there because there's even a lot of fucking dumbass podcasters like us who are dumbass podcasters who just have a feeling of self-importance. And I think there's more to be done with a realization of your actual place. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Like all the guys we shit on, you know, Charlotte and Drew and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I still respect them. They still do what, you know, me as a child wishes I could have done.
Yeah.
And
even now,
at the end of the day, you're still entertaining me, or, you know, I'm still, you know, like I said, there's all due respect, and I respect them all.
Yes.
Just because I don't like your character is a different story.
Yes, 100%. I'm talking about what I see on TV, not these people as a person. A lot of fucking assholes try to say this is the person, and I'm like, I'm not playing that game. I'm talking about what I'm seeing, what I'm digesting, and how I receive it. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm also not trying to discount his fucking decade-long run of working hard to get where he's at. But as a television viewer of this character, he's been on top for 1 year. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. As we move along, we have, it looks like the Goldberg spot that we talked about.
Yep.
And that was fine. Then they have the 24/7 championship spot in the fucking playground. I mean...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's one of those where it's like, this is kind of what we've been expecting, you know, so to see it kind of play out with Tozawa as Pluto, it's like, it is what it is. I think it ran a little long.
Yes.
But, you know, it was showcasing Reggie. I almost called him Reginald. Excuse me. Reggie, you know, doing his thing and probably in an environment he's more comfortable doing it.
That's true, too. Two things real quick. In the chat, Jeremy did say McInFart doesn't know how to control his thick, oily discharge, and I agree entirely. But on this one, this is one of those segments that I think translates differently on TV. This really feels like, as Bruce Pritchett calls them on his podcast, Something to Wrestle With, a let me up segment, where I really feel like this is for the audience in the stands who've been sitting around for hours and need to take a break. And this is going to be something that's going to play for 5-6 minutes on the TV screen. You can go ahead and walk away from your seat, go get some merch, go pick up your shirt, go grab a beer, go to the bathroom. This felt like a break. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because it was ultimately, when I think about it in that respect, it was entertaining. It was a fun little spot. You did have, I don't know of a respectful way to say this, honestly, but it felt like, here's a couple of clowns doing tricks. And I don't mean it disrespectfully. It just, here's our goofy people and our insanely talented people who can put on a 5-minute skit for you. Yeah. Here's our aerobatic. That's not the right word. That's not even the right word. How do you say it? Acrobat. Here's our acrobat. Here's our jokester. Here's our athlete. Like, let's do a skit for everyone to grab their popcorn and thing, and they're not going to miss anything important. They can watch it on YouTube. It's not a big deal. Yeah, have a minute. If you're going to sit in the stands and watch it, you're going to laugh. If you're going to go fucking to the bathroom, you're going to be fine. You're not going to miss an important part of the show. That's what it felt like. And I think that that's discounted on TV when you watch it, because people use the commercials for bathroom breaks where the people in the stands don't. And I think that's what's become sort of a realization to me when I saw this skit.
Yeah, it's the Rico's Nachos spot.
Yes.
Time to go to the snack bar.
Mm-hmm. What was that spot in the drive-in that they had with the dancing hot dog and shit?
Yeah,
Remember
that's the Rico's Nachos.
It was the Rico's Nachos?
Jalapeno that,
Yeah.
that's the one I
Let's
remember,
all go
right?
to the movies. Let's all go to the movies.
That was a Coke thing, though, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I just remember the drive-in with Rico's Nachos, and, and the jalapeno, and yeah.
And if you watch it, it's funny. You giggle. You already have your nachos. It's all the idiots who were in line. If you didn't, you don't feel bad. You don't go back and be like, "Oh, are you kidding? I missed the fucking on-screen YouTube skit from the playground." You'll watch it on YouTube. It's fine. So I don't know. I just want to throw a little bit of respect there, because I think that shit gets discounted, especially in a show that has so many commercial breaks for us at home. The commercial breaks live in the stadium are not the same. They're a little more interactive. They try to interact with the fans. They do those like, hey, show us your sign. Hey, just do a flex. Who can do the Undertaker? Yeah. They do these things to try to get the fans sort of involved. So it's just not the same.
Like a kiss cam kind of, yeah.
Kiss cam, flex cam, teabag cam, whatever the cam they got.
No.
Did I miss that?
That's not the one.
Yeah, right? That was one of them. I know me and Kev did a teabag cam once.
Sure you did. Sure you did.
Jesus.
What?
Can't believe her. You see the way she treats us, dude? It's crazy.
I know. We're the victims here.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, but that segment was fine. It was what it was. Moving on. I just want to throw that out there because I feel like that people... I think that Raw gets an unfair judgment. I don't think it's the best wrestling show. I don't. But I don't think it's judged fairly for a number of reasons, and that was one of them. I want to throw that out there. After that, though, there was Doudrop and Eva Marie in a sort of match where Doudrop went in there and just... Go ahead.
It was weird. Like, they showed the build-up for it. It was like, cool. But then Doudrop goes out there, does her little spirit fingers, and all of a sudden just attacks her. And it's like, she wasn't out there like pissed off or anything like that. I mean, if she walked out there pissed off, I'm sick of this shit, let's go. It would have been whatever, but, she was happy going in there, attacks her, does her own pinfall, and then does the spirit fingers on the way out.
Yes. And Doudrop came out to her own music and a big old graphic that said Doudrop. I'm going to be honest with you. I loved it. I loved it because I knew how much it was pissing off everyone at home. Not even everyone at home. You know who pissed off? The bullshit IWC that thinks they know better. And here at the dive bar of the IWC, we hold you accountable. You never fucking watched NXT UK. You never knew who Piper Niven was except for her Twitter fucking presence. Assholes. She shows up on Raw, and you go, how dare you call her Dewdrop when she's been such a dominant, active figure in NXT UK known as Piper Niven? And I go, oh, no kidding. The same NXT UK you haven't watched in a year and a half, because that's how long it's been since she's been in a match. So when I watched this, I was all like, fuck you. It was the petty shit that got me, dude. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say at the end of the day, I love Piper Niven. I love Dewdrop. I think she's fucking incredible. And I get annoyed at the fans who know better, who speak so highly of the times that they never watched. The amount of people who even see Karrion Kross and go, ugh, they never would have done this when he was in Impact. You didn't watch Impact. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. What'd you think of Dewdrop having her own entrance in the big old Dewdrop graphic? Dewdropping.
I'm Dewdrop. I'm okay with it. She's separating herself from Eva. So, yeah. And she, the promo from last week, I'm taking the name and I'm running with it type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, cool. She should have her own music, her own stuff. I just wish, her finisher was called the Dewdrop.
The Dewdrop? Or the Did Drop would be good.
Yeah.
I think it's all good.
Morning dew.
And I would say, well, clearly she's going to drop the name and eventually become Piper Niven. However, you got Mace and T-Bar still rocking the name from Retribution, and Retribution is long done for, so it's really hard for me to say, like, they're going to change that. I think they're going to run through with Dewdrop long enough for a video game or two, and then she'll potentially become Piper Niven. She'll get a rebranding. She'll be off TV for 6 months. Everyone will be like, what happened? This is terrible. How can they do this to women's wrestling? And then she comes back rebranded and better than ever. And I think long term, that's more like what we're going to see.
Yeah. Well, they need you got to make a Dewdrop shirt.
You need Dewdrop shirts. The old Dew Drip Drop. Yep. You need the old Mountain Dew Drop t-shirt.
Morning
the old Dew Drop it like it's hot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I like the segment. I thought it was good. I mean, the idea that Dewdrop just definitively just smacked the shit out of Eva Marie. Like, fuck you, bitch. And Eva Marie's all like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And they called the match. I was like, this is good shit.
Well, see, I wanted Eva to sell that. Not sell it, but, like, play into that. I can't continue. I can't continue, But the ref kind of just looked at her and was like, you can't continue. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she could have done a few more things, but, I mean, it was fine. I mean, yeah, she could have been like, oh, my God. But,
how could you?
Yeah. Why? And Eva Marie had some sort of crazy, cool-looking fucking, what do you call those get-ups? It was like a jumpsuit. Yeah.
Jumper.
It was nuts.
She's doing a lot of press recently.
She's been doing a lot of press?
Yeah.
She should.
A lot of different things. Yeah.
She should. As much as people want to shit on her, I think she's good in front of a camera and in front of a microphone and representing the thing that she's representing. I think she does good at that, so that's cool.
I did see some people who were on Ryan Satin, who looked at the Ryan Satin podcast. She did an interview there with him, and they were turned around.
Oh.
Learning just about her as a person.
Interesting. I feel like I would listen to any interview done by someone not Ryan Satin, so it's kind of interesting people listened to that one and then got turned around because I would go, oh, Eva Marie's did an interview. That sounds fantastic. Where is it? They go, oh, it's Ryan Satin's. I'd be like, oh, I'll never hear it. He's probably a cool guy. X-Pac, Sean X-Pac Waltman on his podcast had Ryan Satin on, and he tells a story about how he got snuck into a WrestleMania because X-Pac ran into him at some point and said, oh, I'll get you in. When he bumps into him in a bathroom, he goes, I can get you into the WrestleMania party, but I don't have room in my car. You're going to have to lay down in the trunk. So he did, So respect to Ryan Satin. He laid down in the back of X-Pac's trunk to get into a WrestleMania party. I got respect there. However, a lot of trust there. I'm just not a big fan of his interviews, but he's doing what he's doing. He doesn't need me. The dude's successful. He's great. He'll see me and slap me in the face, and I'll go, fair play, Bow. Fair play. Flare flay. Flim flam. Yes. Right, Kev?
Yep.
No. Kev's like got an ongoing
for your
list of
title.
the amount of people who are going to beat the shit out of me in the business. He's like, the more people who know you, the more who are probably going to beat the shit out of you when you see them. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the thing. That's the game of it. But we did get, after this, Karrion Kross versus Humberto Carrillo. I had no problems with it. I know some people were complaining that it took Karrion Kross too long to put away Humberto. But Humberto's been showcased in pretty high levels against most people, so far as I can tell.
Also been gone forever.
Yeah, but he had the whole U.S. title thing with Sheamus. He was back and forth. Ricochet, Andrade. He's been showing himself as a resilient motherfucker. So I didn't have a problem with Karrion Kross taking his time, wearing him down, and then choking him out.
Yeah, if it was fast, he would have felt like a jobber.
Yeah. Humberto's not a jobber? I don't think Humberto's a jobber. Kev, what do you tell me? Talk to me.
No, I don't think it was too fast at all. Like,
Yeah.
Even the announcers, Humberto was the one that broke Sheamus's nose. Like, he's
True.
someone you can't take lightly.
That's a great point. I didn't even catch that in the commentary because I didn't have it that loud, I'm going to be honest. They brought up that Humberto's the one who broke Sheamus's nose. Don't take him lightly. That's a really fucking good point. Man, fuck these assholes who try to fucking besmirch the good goddamn name of Humberto. And I have talked shit on Humberto being the king of the arm drag.
You have.
But,
True. That is true.
but, give the guy some goddamn respect. There's too many people who take losses that people go, oh, well, they're done. They just lost to a jobber. And you go, that's what you think a jobber looks like? You think Jeff Hardy is a jobber? Like, that shit bothers me. It bothers me. Kev, am I up my own ass about that?
No.
All right.
You're in a lot of asses, but yeah.
But not that one. Let's see. We had RK Bro do a segment in the back. I went to high school and graduated, bro. Randy Orton says, you sure about that?
Sure.
That would be cool. We could take a quick side note. You didn't have any issues with the Karrion Kross Humberto stuff, right?
Me? No.
Yeah. And you didn't have any issues with Karrion Kross's presentation?
I mean, it is what it is, but, I don't know. Maybe he needs to lean into it more.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had it. Maybe that's what it is. We haven't had any, backstory with Kross.
Yeah.
He's kind of just there, and here he is. This is what he's doing. I mean, you don't have to go in full Aleister Black and read a book type of thing, but
True.
Maybe, hey, I'm a gladiator.
Yeah.
Paying homage
And he-
to, the Coliseum and, shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they could dig in a little bit, a couple of vignettes. He's done a really good job in the promos he's done. I think he's showing he doesn't need Scarlett necessarily, but I do think part of the excitement is figuring out where Scarlett's going to fit in to really punch him up a notch. But, yeah, I agree with everything you just said. After that was the big one. This was the big match that everyone's been talking about. So all of our drinking buddies who have stayed tuned, what did you think Kevlar of the IIRonics here in the dive bar of the IWC at WOTR the show? What did you Kevlar on the rocks with an X?
Thanks.
Think of Charlotte versus Nia Jax on Raw.
At first, I was all right with it. It was, whatever. Then they got into that weird, slapping contest.
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, I've noticed it before where Charlotte lays into people and Nia has done it as well. And I think they got pissed off at each other. You know, they're like, I'm going to hit you. No, you're not, you know, and literally got into like a grade school slapping contest.
Yep.
But then I thought it was, you know, because I thought it was what it was, and Charlotte, you know, she's the champion. She's going to walk away with it. And then Nia wins. It was like, all right, they're building up Nia huge again. I did like that choke slam. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying, they're saying that this was a big shoot, that the thing fell apart, that it became an actual fight. What are your thoughts on that? I've watched this now 3 times. What did you think it became an actual fight at any moment?
Not an actual fight, but it was, what is it, receipts? I thought it was like, oh, she slapped me, I'm going to slap her back. You know, because there's times where, you know, I think it's Nia's like actually like guarding, but she's not like, I mean, if it turned into an actual fight, like that would have been great. But I think it was just like, here's a receipt, here's a receipt, here's a receipt. And they were going back and forth with it, like I said, in that slapping contest.
And yeah, there was one point where it looked like Nia threw a couple of like punches in succession when it got combo almost. It was that like. I
mean, like
felt.
I said, I think.
Go ahead.
I would like to see it get into an actual fight.
For one, yeah, I would love to see that.
Oh shit.
I'd love to see Charlotte think she can take on Nia Jax, because I don't buy it for a second.
Yeah.
Charlotte only looks good when everyone's working against her, you know, working towards her, you know, allowing all of her issues to be covered up by the hard work of others. I never felt, I've watched it 3 times, I never felt like the match devolved into just a straight up fight. I feel like there was times where Nia was telling Charlotte to calm the fuck down, or sit the fuck down, or you're not bigger than me, or I don't give a shit. Right? It's this whole like, no, Charlotte, we're either going to work together, or you're going to have to fucking drag me, because I don't fucking need this. And I feel like, remember back when Charlotte like kneed Shayna right in the head real fucking hard? And I was like, I wish Shayna had it in her to say, I'm going to take it to Charlotte without fear of repercussion because it's Charlotte.
Yeah.
This whole match felt like someone finally standing up to Charlotte. It felt like Charlotte was doing whatever the fuck she wanted, was hitting as hard as she wanted on someone, and the other person saying, do you think that's fucking fun? Do you want to see what happens? And I feel like it was someone standing up to her. I didn't feel like it was a shoot, and I didn't feel like it devolved into a fight, and I didn't feel like it was Nia off the rails or off the track or getting dangerous. I feel like it was Charlotte getting a series of receipts for being shitty in the ring to other people. And I will say, without divulging much, I've heard there are wrestlers who don't like to wrestle Charlotte because she's so physically hard on them, that she hits them so hard and expects everyone else not to hit her very hard.
Oh, she likes to give it, not take it.
Yes. That her thing is, I'm stiff, but work easy on me. Take it for what it is. I am a nobody. I know nothing all the time. It's just a thing I heard from somebody who's wrestled from them. But it was just a thing. And so when I watched this, I thought, maybe Nia's all like, look, bitch, you think I have to? Because I don't fucking have to.
Yeah, they both got family names.
They both have family names. And at the end of the day, if Nia leaves and goes to AEW, she's still a fucking superstar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt like someone who was not concerned about protecting Charlotte or protecting the way of it, just standing up and being like, no, fuck you, dude. Fucking stop.
Yeah.
from that aspect, as a nobody just watching, I went, fuck yeah, I love Nia right now. And I've talked a lot of shit on Nia. This episode even.
Yeah. Well, and
Earlier
watching
tonight.
this, yeah, like I said, that's the way I kind of perceived it. I never thought it, like I said, went into a fight, but they were laying some, like I said, receipts, and yeah, it made me want Nia to win.
Yes.
And when she actually won, I was like, oh shit, like cool. Like I said, I like that choke slam thing she did.
Yeah.
But then storyline wise, I'm like, wait a second, they just put everything behind Nia and literally shat on this reign of Charlotte.
And I don't mind it one bit. To be honest, if this is the way you get a Nia championship reign, it's not goofy. Because let's be honest, when Nia won it off Alexa, it was kind of a shitty fucking win.
Yeah.
Remember? Because, Nia had such a hard time. It was so difficult. All due respect to Nia and Alexa. They worked their asses off. But it is so difficult to have a 4'10" person fight a 6'3", 400-pound person.
Yeah.
In a convincing struggle. And the entire time looked like Nia Jax just feeding Alexa everything she fucking could. Nia looked like her feet were in mud just to make it make sense. And it was fucking rough. But they needed to get there because the whole story was that Alexa was bullying Nia, because emotional and mental bullying is just as important as physical. And I get that, and I believe in that, and I think it's all good. But it really undermined the win of Nia when the match went so long, and you're like, the whole thing was based around Nia being able to get 1 point of offense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where if this is the new build for Nia, and she gets another honest reign as a fucking force, as the irresistible force, they say,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% against that. You know what I mean? She's a dominant-looking person, and I don't know. I do think that she works into the narrative that she's a dangerous worker, and I do think that she, without knowing anything, because I don't, we're not trying to pretend that we're these fucking crazy insiders, but I do think she works differently than most, and I think it's on purpose because of the narrative. I think she does these slams in a way that people who don't know what they're looking at think, oh, that's not what I'm used to, therefore it must be dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or someone needs time off TV, let's put him in a match with Nia to feed that narrative too.
Yeah, she heard them.
Right?
They're on the show.
Exactly. Now Nia becomes volatile as a character, always hated. That's not to say she never has these slip-ups or anything, and she never actually hurt somebody. She broke Becky fucking Lynch's face. So, but I'm just saying there might be more to it. It might be deeper than we think, and there might be more going on than we realize. And there's a good chance we're all getting worked in one way or another. But this match specifically, watching it, I did not think at any point that it evolved into a actual shoot fight, as they say, because there was so much cooperation in all those moments. And in between, Charlotte let up a lot. There was a part where she started throwing kicks at Nia and was getting nowhere near her, and Nia was selling him. And I was like, if this was a real fight, she's not gonna fucking do that.
Yeah.
But did it look brutal? Yeah. Did it look fucking crazy and messy and worth talking about? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were going for. Kev, I don't think you saw it, but did you get to see the Ilya Dragunov and Walter match from NXT?
No.
It's worth watching. It was on their last takeover. It'd be easier for you to track down than trying to find their NXT match in the arena.
I've heard that it was amazing.
It's incredible. I think you should watch it just for the sake of it. Just watch it. As a standalone thing, sometime between now and next week, just watch it. But, I mean, don't even watch the rest of the takeover. Just find that one match and watch it. But there was part of me watching this thinking, are they trying to do that? Are these people who don't know how to do British strong style trying to implement a strong style and they're not sure how to do it and they're making each other mad because they don't get it? because they haven't been trained the way that guys like Walter and Ilya have been trained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was definitely part of me that thought that this was a intentionally graphic, for lack of a better term, fight because they didn't know how to do it the right way, like a Walter and Ilya know how to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Moving on, going through it. There's not a whole lot left here. We had John Morrison versus Omos because Miz was just not present and almost got a pretty definitive win. I liked the match in general. I thought it was good. Anything you had to say about it?
No, I mean, it was what it was. You know, Morrison challenged almost for whatever reason, and just makes Morrison look like the airhead that he is, you know, portraying.
Yeah, I agree. AJ Styles versus Xavier Woods. To me, that was match of the night. I thought it was fucking phenomenal. Just from both parties.
Yeah.
Just absolutely incredible. It shows how amazing Xavier Woods is. AJ Styles is so goddamn good.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it. I loved every second of it. And I just wish that those guys could be in a main event on a pay-per-view, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Anything you have to say about that one before you go to the main event?
No, like, yeah, same thing. Like, I thought it was a phenomenal match. AJ and Xavier, you know, did their thing, and it was great. I don't know where it goes storyline-wise. That was my biggest thing with it, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, I got you. And then the main event was Randy Orton, Matt Riddle against Bobby Lashley and MVP. Orton, also RK Bro, gets the win. It looks like Orton got the pin on Bobby Lashley. I didn't pay I wasn't watching every second of this whole match. I had it going on while I was doing other things, to be honest, on the replay. It looked like a really solid match from fucking great performers in there. Everyone was doing awesome from everything I saw. Do you think it's leading to a Bobby Lashley Randy Orton program? Because I'm not against that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it felt like to me. But, you know, because at the end, Randy gets that RKO on Bobby. You know, that's not how they won. I can't remember exactly the finish.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it definitely raised the question, or, you know, Randy versus Bobby, and I'm on board with it too. I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be great for Bobby. I think Bobby could, I mean, not that Bobby's not doing fantastic. I want him to be a champion for all the way up until next Mania, to be honest. I'd like to see someone take the title off him at next Mania, but I want to see him carry it through to Mania, just because I think that the idea of him losing the title at Mania could be so impactful. But
Yeah.
I do think that if he stepped over Randy Orton on the way, that could be fucking incredible. And
Yeah.
I got to imagine at this point in his career, everything we've seen, if you haven't seen the Broken Skull session with Randy Orton and Stone Cold, definitely make the time to watch it. Have you seen it yet, Kev?
Yeah.
Fucking incredible, right?
Yeah. Just made me love Randy that much more.
100%. Like, I think he's at a point in his career where you get in a program with Randy Orton and you're about to go to a masterclass. You know?
Yeah.
So, and he seems so giving at this point in his career that I think that the idea of Bobby Lashley as a world champion having a program for a month or two with Randy Orton could be incredible for Bobby Lashley. Because at the end of the day, it's been said, I would encourage people to check out the Pro Wrestling for Life episode that just dropped today. If you're listening to this on podcast, yesterday it dropped, but there is Pro Wrestling for Life with Sean X Puck Waltman. He interviewed Scott Norton, but after that he talks to what does that have to do with Randy Orton? I lost my train of thought so fast there. Oh, he talks to Alfred Kanuwa from Forbes, and they talk about the WWE brand becoming bigger than the champion Where back in the day, in like the 80s and 90s, it was Hulk Hogan's here. He is WWE. When he goes away for a while, the business drops, and they're at a point now where they're trying to build enough people to be names beneath the brand and not names bigger than the brand necessarily. I do think there's a little bit of bullshit to that, because I think you do have the Cenas, the Rocks, the Beckys, the Romans who can outreach beyond the brand. And I don't think that WWE sees a negative there, because I think they've only had positive success with guys like John Cena and The Rock. Every time they talk about WWE, it's good for them. When The Rock was promoting Jungle Cruise, he was in some interview where someone was wearing a Bret Hart shirt, and he said, I just want to bring that to mind, or he goes, I want to talk about that. And he started talking about Bret Hart and how much Bret Hart meant to him as a person when he got into the industry. And from my side of things, I don't know about everybody else's stuff. My stuff, it was viral. It was everywhere. I saw it all over the place, and I watched it over and over again. I loved it. And that doesn't hurt WWE to have a guy at the stature of The Rock bring an interview to a screeching halt to say, you're wearing a Bret Hart shirt, and I want you to understand the man behind that shirt, and talking about Bret Hart, the wrestler. Incredible. So I don't think that I don't buy into the narrative that they're not trying to make another big star. I don't, not at all. But I do think Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Roman. We've talked about it with on the SmackDown side, the Finn, Edge, Seth. You want people who are so big that people want to go see them, regardless of the fact that the tickets are selling before you even announce who's going to be there. Sorry about that little bit of rant there, though. Kev, go ahead.
No, I was just taking it all in. Like,
But the idea of Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley being in a program, I'm really excited for. The idea of this match was pretty solid. I don't know, man. This was a better Raw than most. And I'll be honest with you, I think Raw on a replay, like if you have the USA app, I would watch Raw on Tuesdays and just not give a shit about catching all of it on Monday. Like maybe watch the first hour on Monday and watch the rest of it on Tuesday, because honestly, if you watch it without all those commercials, it's a pretty easy watch, and you can see how it's a pretty well-constructed show, but it's stretched thin like taffy because of all the commercials they're slamming in there. And I think that it's just an unfair judgment that it gets from other people, and I just don't want to be part of that negative narrative for no reason. It's one thing to say, oh, the show's so long, it's 3 hours, it sucks. Well, it's 2 hours of content you're getting within 3 hours. That sucks.
yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's nice, too, with the USA app is, they still have commercials, but you also see the countdown, or the timer.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, there's 2.5 minutes right now. Cool, I can go do something. Mm-hmm. When you're watching it live, you're trying to guess when the show's coming back on.
Yeah. For sure. 100%, man. I take advantage of that countdown all the time. And during the countdown, it's really easy to change focus. But when you don't know how long the commercial break's going to be, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Something happened. We had a cosmic shift. Paradigm shift, as they say in AEW.
I was going to say, it sounded like that one was deep.
Yeah. Jeremy Steven does say in the chat from before, there was multiple moments where Charlotte didn't sell Nia's offense. So I think that Nia got pissed off that Charlotte was making her look like shit. And in turn, I mean, this is not Jeremy, but I'm saying, and in turn, Nia said, if you want to make me look like shit, I want you to know I can make you look like shit. And there is a moment even where Charlotte jumps onto Nia almost to put herself in a Samoan drop, but she looks like a cat climbing up a person. Because the person's just standing there like, what the right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, she legitimately looked like she was, like you said, forcing herself into that move.
It was crazy and awful and terrible. But I was going to ask you about this too, Kev. Let me know what you think, because on last week's Raw, throughout the Raw, they said next week we're going to see this match. They listed 3 different matches. And Jeremy says, I realized during the main event for Raw that all 3 of the matches advertised the week prior didn't happen due to unknown circumstances. And I saw a lot of people giving that shit, like Miz and Morrison was supposed to happen. I don't remember the other 2. I don't. But I know that there were other matches listed that just didn't happen. And Jeremy, if you want to throw it out there what those matches were, go ahead. But I do think it's a little bit irrelevant to the comment on it. Kev, did you have any issues specifically? Because I saw a lot of people really shitting on it. And they're starting to try to this is the part that I love. They are saying that WWE is false advertising by not having the matches that they advertised the week before. This isn't a car. It's a fucking weekly TV show that's been going on for fucking 2,000 episodes. I think it's different. Here it is. Jeremy goes, Miz and Morrison, Bobby Lashley and Sheamus, and technically Eva Marie versus Doudrop didn't officially happen. That's true. Kev, did you feel like missing Miz versus Morrison and Lashley versus Sheamus and Eva Marie versus Doudrop in a full-on match was a big fucking issue for you this week?
No. The only one that I remember hearing about was Sheamus versus Bobby, and, it didn't happen. Fine. I'm okay with that. The whole thing that they always say is hard subject to change, and
For one, yeah.
Because I'm trying to think back at the beginning of Raw, because I think because Sheamus and Bobby kind of went back and forth for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think I remember Sheamus saying something to the line, or to the fact of, Bobby ain't shit type of thing, and then moved on. And, but yeah, for them not to have these matches, who's really invested to see Bobby versus Sheamus?
And I'll give you
Matches
this, too. Go ahead.
I was going to say the match that Sheamus was in was probably better, and then the match that Bobby was in was awesome too. So I'm okay with the way things turned out.
Exactly what I was going to ask you. I mean, you had Miz and Morrison. You ended up with Morrison versus Omos. You had Lashley and Sheamus. You had Lashley and MVP against RK Bro. And you had Sheamus in a triple threat with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. In the Eva Marie versus Doudrop, you had a huge storytelling push of Doudrop squashing Eva Marie, and Eva Marie again being shitty about being unable to compete like she did previously. So building that heat, I feel like I got what I was paying for. Not that I was paying for anything more than I was before. In general, I got better matches and a better story than just those things on paper. Because, Miz and Morrison, for sure. That'll be a fine match that'll happen eventually in the turn. I don't know why Miz wasn't there. I don't. I also think that there's not enough leniency to not understand that there's still medical issues that happen with human beings, and we're still in a pandemic. Just because fans are back doesn't mean that there isn't still a serious threat. Right? So if there's a reason why Miz might need to quarantine or stay home, or the fact that traveling has become more difficult than it has been in a long time, I think there's a level of humanity where we can forgive the, quote, false advertising. I saw one jackass, I won't even name him, prominent, goes, none of the matches advertised for the Raw happened on Raw. I just want people to know that as a journalist, it feels like false advertisement. Fuck off. Fuck you, dude.
Well,
Those are the... Go ahead.
Know. I was just going to say, when I think of false advertising, I think of, true false advertising where, the store is saying, hey, we'll sell you a PlayStation 5 for $19.95, and then you go there and it's like, oh no, it's $395 or whatever. That's false advertising. I haven't looked for it in a while, but there's always cards subject to change. And I want to say they have that at the bottom of every fucking commercial.
And every ticket.
Yeah.
It's everywhere because you don't know what's going to happen, because the problem is you deal with human beings, and when you're advertising that these two human beings, singular human beings, will be inside of the same space at the same time, you don't know the kinds of things that can come up to prevent one of those human beings from not being there. I don't know if anybody in the wrestling journalist world has ever called out sick from work, but it sounds a fucking lot like they haven't.
Yeah.
It sounds like none of them have ever been late for work, have never been caught up in traffic, have never had a kid get sick that they got to look out for, have never had a family emergency. You just don't fucking know. And fuck off and fuck you for trying to say that Raw not having 3 specific matches on a 12-match card was false advertisement. Fuck off in your goddamn AEW narrative that AEW gives you what you want and WWE forces you to eat what they give you. They're both doing the same fucking thing. Fuck off. It's just bullshit. We're just stepping away from humanity to push our own narrative for the job we think we can have. I said it before and I'll say it again. I think the wrestling journalists, in quotes, obsession with AEW is they see money to be made from a company that they know they can work in because it's not better than them. And I think their aversion to WWE is seeing something done at such a high level they don't know if they can ever reach it. I really do. So fuck off. Trying to push a specific thing for that reason. Be objective or stop calling yourself a journalist, in quotes or otherwise. Just killed a bug.
Yeah.
Jeremy, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, too, with that is maybe it's just the fact that they didn't get an explanation. But at the same time, we never got an explanation on why Sasha wasn't able to compete at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
There was no reason, given. And, who knows? Maybe Miz also got COVID.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's none of your fucking goddamn business, dude. Like,
yeah,
they went on about Keith Lee for a long time and how he's being shit on and how Vince McMahon's doing this and how they're in legal troubles over his name and all this. Keith Lee finally puts out a video where he's like, I had a goddamn heart condition and I caught COVID. And I've been fighting my ass off to get back, and I'm finally well enough, and we're going to figure it out. And you go, do you feel better now? Do you feel better for putting out all that fucking bullshit? That fucking rhetoric that you just push? Asuka.
Yeah.
Asuka was fucking... They keep saying that creative has nothing for her, and she's probably going back home, and they're going to cut her contract. All this crazy shit. She just posted a video the other day where she had like some dental surgery, and lo and behold, in that same picture, her arm is in a fucking like robotic arm sling. Like she had some sort of arm surgery too. Maybe some of this shit's not your fucking business, and maybe it's none of your business to try to spout negative shit about a company because you don't know. Because those same motherfuckers don't call out AEW for the amount of people who have caught COVID and had to be off TV for several weeks unannounced and for no reason, i.e. one of the Young Bucks being off screen for weeks, but you just keep seeing one foot, so you assume they're there, but the motherfucker caught COVID. But you don't want to call them out on that shit, but you want to fucking drag every WWE superstar for being shit on when you don't know their health status, because it's also none of your business to know their health status. Like, fucking relax.
And, that was one of the things, too, with WWE. Even at the beginning of the pandemic, I don't think we really heard of anyone, the superstars, catching COVID. They kind of kept it all under wraps. And, like I said, with The Miz, maybe he has COVID. And, it's okay for Pat McAfee to be announced that he has COVID, and that's the reason why he's gone. But, maybe they look at it like, hey, it makes our superstars look weak or whatever, And so we don't want to announce when our superstars have COVID.
Yeah, or maybe they're just trying to be an escape and they don't want people to think about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
it's as simple as we don't want to announce someone has COVID because we don't want the amount of viewers we have who have lost people to COVID to relive that. Maybe it's as simple as that. And is that so fucking awful for you goddamn dirt sheet writers? Like, fucking relax. I don't know. Sorry, there's a bit of a thing there. Jeremy does say in the chat, there was reports, and I did read this too, and tell me what you think here, Kev, that a, quote, irate and pissed off Vince McMahon ripped up the script 3 to 4 times. Of course, reports are bullshit. Jeremy is a friend of the show, and he knows it. He heard everything I said, and he was probably screaming, preach it! And he goes, but I just found it interesting. We had none of the matches advertised. Miz and Morrison will probably be saved for Extreme Rules. Probably.
Yeah. Rightfully so. Like, I don't think, it kind of reminds me, definitely not to the degree, but of Lesnar and Stone Cold. Yeah. And it's like, hey, why have this on a random Raw? Like, we've had Miz and Morrison together for such a long time. They're now at, odds with each other. Why have that match on Raw?
I agree. I think absolutely. I
Put
think
it
you
at
have
Extreme Rules. Put it, put it stipulation, maybe not a, what do they call it? Dripstick. I almost said dipshit.
dripstick match.
Dripstick
on a
situation.
pole match.
Yeah, you don't have
Imagine-
that payoff at just Raw.
Can you imagine how fucking shitty it would be to have a match with the fucking squirt guns hanging from a pole and the winner's the guy who squirts the other guy with it?
Yeah.
Be so fucking funny. They did dripstick on a pole match. Fucking Morrison grabs
That's
this
pretty good.
fucking foam goddamn squirt gun from a fucking pole, pops it in a bucket, squirts Miz, and they go ding, 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 ding. Winner by squirt in the face.
That's where you get America's Most Wanted.
I get it. But I do agree. I think you save it for Extreme Rules. I think maybe you do if it was TLC, I would say you have Miz show up next week and hit Morrison with a chair and make it a chairs match.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. I think that maybe you have Miz come in next week if he's healthy and do something with a weapon and lead into an Extreme Rules type match.
Yeah. I just think they need to finally absolve one of them. TLC and Extreme Rules don't need to be 2 separate pay-per-views.
I agree with that. Yeah, you only need one or the other for sure. There's no reason. Extreme Rules. The problem is Extreme Rules is the one that gets a kendo stick match and then a cell match and a table. But you try to avoid the tables, ladders, or chairs matches because of TLC. And it's a weird.
But I think
it's a
call
balance
it
that's not
TLC
needed.
Extreme Rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you need both by any means. I agree with that. I think overall, though, I'm excited about that payoff. I don't think Charlotte and Nia were in an actual fight. And I think I've had a really good time having drinks with my buddies. How do you feel?
Yeah, same.
Is there anything you thought we missed about this week? To be honest, I thought we were going to have a real short show, and that's why I kind of was dragging ass in the news. Because I was like, there's nothing to talk about on Raw and SmackDown. It was just good stuff that happened. And we found a way to fucking dig in deep, and I love that, man.
Yeah. I definitely thought this was going to be a shorter show, too.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, I'll eat afterwards, and now I'm starving.
Yeah. You're like, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, unless there's something you think we're missing, man, I'm ready for last call. Are you?
Yeah, no, I think we went over pretty much anything or everything. I know Alexa wasn't there either on Raw.
Yeah. And there was a ton of reports trying to say she missed it, she didn't make it, and she put out a tweet. She goes, I was there, I was backstage. And it was just another one of those things where it's like, stop fucking talking about what you don't know what you're talking about. Just this this endless need and desire to not only be negative, but to also push a story you don't know.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting, dude. It's awful. So Inside the Ropes, when they first came out, I followed them and I was so excited because I was like, oh, these guys are an actual magazine. They're going to be doing things legit. They did these badass interviews. I had to fucking unfollow and mute them not that long ago because the amount of bullshit they're putting out. The other day, literally last week, they put out an article with the headline of Sean Waltman says that WWE alienated and buried a large portion of their audience by doing what they did to Bianca, right? That was one quote in a long diatribe about all the things they were doing right, the things he didn't like, and how he doesn't like to talk about negatively about WWE. And all they pulled out was the one time in all of his things where he said, yeah, I think that they did a bad thing towards a large chunk of the audience that loves Bianca. They didn't talk about all the positive things he talked about that same pay-per-view, all the things he was excited about, the interviews that went so fucking well there. And it was just one of those things where I was like, this is why I stopped following you, because all you can do is find the negative and feed into it.
Yeah, and run with it.
Yeah. Like, this is your news, is as negative as you can find. What's the most negative thing you said? Let's run that. I got no time for you. I got no time for any of them, man. It's just a bummer. It's a bummer because there's so much cool shit happening in wrestling no matter which show you watch. If you watch MLW, they just announced October 2nd, you're going to have Hammerstone versus Jacob Fatu. That's going to be one of the greatest fucking matches on the indie scene that's happened in so long.
Yeah.
I'm literally trying to figure out if I can make it to Philadelphia October 2nd because that's a can't miss match. If you don't watch MLW, don't miss this match. If you do watch MLW, you know what I'm talking about. If you're within 200 miles of Philadelphia, go to MLW that night. This matches cannot miss. It's incredible. If you love AEW, you have CM Punk. There's a really good chance you're getting Daniel Bryan soon. You've got amazing shit happening over there for you guys. It's great. Love it. If you like WWE, we got Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. Drew just put over Damian Priest, who's on the fucking rise. Bobby Lashley is the world champion. He is now currently the longest reigning African-American world champion in the history of WWE. How do you not get behind a lot of this shit if you love it?
Yeah.
But if you're just writing about whatever you can do to drag up shit on the other thing, if you're not focused on what you love and you're focused on what you hate, you're doing it wrong. You got it backwards, man.
Yeah, that's just today's society. Everyone's focused on the negative and not the positives and shit like that. But
yeah, we've talked about it before. We have a real hard time believing that the AEW fan base isn't passionately in love with wrestling so much as they're passionately in hate with WWE. And it's a real conversation we've had a number of times because we just don't see it the other way. And to be honest, if you passionately hate something that much, step the fuck away from anything to do with it. Like, fucking readjust, man. Like,
yeah, quit talking about it.
Yeah,
I know.
quit talking about it.
I shit on AEW just because
It's funny.
I think it's funny. Like, I don't hate them. I wanted them to be good. I still want them to be good. You know, it's just that the product that they put out is not my cup of tea, and you know, I'll crack my jokes from time to time, but at the same time, like, I want them to succeed. I want the back and forth with WWE. I want, you know, a lot of the talent that is now over there. I followed in WWE, and you know, I wish them the best. So,
yeah, 100%.
You know, succeed, put something out that I like, and I'll jump on board.
Or even the other way. Maybe I'll never be a fan of you, and that's okay, but I want you to be successful. I want you to do good. I want you to be giving the fans that you have everything they want, and I'm okay with that. It's another one of those things where it's like, it's okay. There's a lot of people online who say it's okay to like both. But they forget that it's also okay to not like both because they're distinctively different. But it's not okay to actively hate one or the other for the sake of it. I mean, like, you're just doing yourself a disservice. Jeremy in the chat is saying AEW crowd tonight was rough. He goes, no reaction to anyone until Punk came out, and then once he left, they gave no other than Britt Baker and Jungle Boy a reaction. Not to mention, commentary mentioned Punk's name at least 57 times the entire night. AEW is slowly becoming Punk or Riot, and it's disheartening. And I said that earlier. I didn't know how I was going to work with him, but yeah. I don't know. I didn't watch Dynamite tonight. I have a friend who was there. I forgot it was even happening. From what I've seen so far, I have zero intention of actually watching it. But tomorrow night, we'll probably dig in a little bit deeper on what's going on with AEW and Punk's return. Does it overshadow the company? Does it add to the company? What are we doing here? I don't know, Jeremy. It's a little bit nuts. I do think, I'll say it here. Probably say it tomorrow too, because I'll have more drinks. There's a big part of me that really feels like CM Punk has been one of the worst things that ever happened to wrestling. From the beginning of his career to now. He's been nothing but negative and hateful in everything he's ever said. On TV or off TV. On social media. Behind the company's back. Under the company's umbrella. Or with outside of the company's umbrella. He's so negative that I feel like it's fed into and bred a really awful atmosphere for people who believe they love pro wrestling because they love the shit he says. And it's just not the same thing. I don't know, Kev, anything you want to add to that?
No.
Kev, I appreciate you having...
on the CM Punk aspect.
Yeah. Both of us have watched CM Punk's matches and looked at each other and went, what the fuck was that? Jeremy does say, I completely agree with you, Marsh. I can't think of a single thing Punk has done to progress pro wrestling in a positive light. Dude, I wish I could give you an example but of something outside of that. But 100%, I've never seen or heard him say anything good. Even the other day, I don't know if you saw this, Kev, and we'll wrap it up shortly, I promise, because I know you got like a life and a family and kids and shit. And we're just drinking, talking about wrestling, and I'm sucking away your lifeblood. But sure enough, the other night, it was Rampage, I think. After the show, they even aired it on AEW's Twitter. CM Punk goes out and says, if you love it, tweet about it, talk about it, tell your friends, tell everybody. If you didn't love it, shut the fuck up about it. And I was like, that's you. That's the most honest thing you've ever said. Because it's also the most hypocritical thing you've ever said. Because all you've ever done as CM Punk is talk shit about everything you've never liked. But you've never talked about what you loved. Outside of Bret Hart, I've heard him say great things about Bret Hart. But I've never heard him talk positively about anything wrestling ever. I've only heard him talk shit. And so I saw that and I went, oh, you're the same. And you're still the hypocrite I always thought you were. You are why I will never watch you.
Yeah.
Because you really want people to shut the fuck up about it, and you don't know how. I don't know. Maybe I'm the asshole. Any final thoughts, Kev?
No. We covered everything.
We went in deep, and we'll go in deep again tomorrow night on a brand new episode 1. Kev, are you ready for last call?
Yes, sir.
Me too. I am ready. I am at Ref Marsh. That is at Kevlar on the Rocks with an X. We are at WRTR The Show. Newwave.co. Promo code CHEERS. NOOWAVE.co. Promo code CHEERS for an additional 10% off any ongoing sale that New Wave has going on for their coffee. OTR cocktails for On the Rocks. Premium cocktails. Not sponsors, but we're trying. Guys,
Working on it.
We're working on it. And we will be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.